I'm kind of crazy, man. There we show up. There's this great kit match.
It's just.
And so that they'll walk us out here.
Oh! Whoa! I just jumped back over. All right, let's just close this.
Oh boy.
Something.
Yes,
We should be good.
Great looking mugshot. That'll get you into any
Entertaining.
Okay,
Let's
appreciate it.
Yeah.
This will be something.
I'll mute myself.
Patrick, you give a sound check real quick.
Check,
Good.
check, test. Good.
Good. All right. Oh boy. Welcome in, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, and what are we calling the cat?
I don't know. We do need to give it a name.
We are live from Stone Stadium, the Tony Annan Little Gamecocks soccer camp that has been going on this week. Currently, we're the only ones here, although we are joined by Bubbles, or I don't know what we're going to call this cat. We have arrived here on the back porch. You can check out our view on the live stream that we have. And as we got out here to set up this morning, there is a little cat that you're going to hear throughout. Yeah, you're going to hear the cat throughout the morning, and it's been quite the start to Patrick and I being on location. The cat was not part of the sound check I did yesterday when I was out here. The cat was not part of this at all. But the cat has arrived and is hanging out and being a part of the program this morning. If you live on Whaley Street and you're missing a cat, is that what we narrowed it down?
Yeah. I mean, this is great. I'm gonna switch my stream to the mobile one so I can videotape this.
Yeah, you can check that out. So welcome in on a Wednesday morning, June the 8th, 6:04. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. The cat is on the table now. I've done a lot of things in radio, from having makeup put on to my nails painted to a few other things. And this is the most distracting thing that I've ever had is when I'm doing a radio show. So anything that I had thought about opening the show with is pretty much out the door right now as we open up this morning. Again, we're out here, Patrick and I, we're going to kick it around on the pitch a little bit. I was also told yesterday, I mentioned with Coach Annan that you were looking for your cleats, to which he looked at me and I think he said, "Aye, mate, they're boots. They're boots." Yeah. So we're gonna take a crash course in some real soccer knowledge today. Coach Annan will join us later on this morning. We'll catch up again. He's got his first ever Tony Annan Little Gamecock soccer camp going on this week, and we're out here again at Stone Stadium. Home opener this year will be against the defending national champions on September 2nd. Clemson will roll into town, and hoping for a big crowd. But we got a lot of other stuff we're going to get into this morning. We will get back into the fallout from Dustin Johnson's announcement yesterday to withdraw from the PGA Tour and participate on the Live Golf Tournament or Live Golf Tour Series. Interesting to see kind of the fallout yesterday. The U.S. Open announcing that they will not suspend or not withdraw any players that have already qualified for the tournament. So Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, anybody that's already qualified will still have the opportunity to play next week up in Brookline, Massachusetts, at the Country Club for the U.S. Open. We'll get into that a little bit more. We'll continue on with our countdown of the top 30 Gamecocks in the SEC area. Yesterday was Mike Davis. The day prior was Steven Garcia. And good news for a lot of you. I don't know who 28 is, or I do, but I'm not going to tease it after getting yes.
Tell him what position he plays.
He's a defensive player. Today will be the first defensive player on the countdown. So we will get to that at about 7:12 this morning. Until then, we got plenty of stuff that we're going to get into. A good night in the NHL for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They evened the series at 2 games apiece with the New York Rangers in a 4-1 victory. And back at it on the hard court tonight as Golden State and Boston 1-1. That series moves to Boston tonight, and we'll see where it goes.
Parquet, right?
Yeah, the parquet floor. Is it parquet? Parquet. But they'll move up to, I think it's now TD Garden Arena though, and we'll kind of see how it goes. There, you got an early 6:07 prediction as you look out over the soccer pitch.
I think it's going to be electric. Boston fans are really excited. They haven't had this is the longest championship drought they've had in probably 20 plus years since Tom Brady, because they were winning championships every single year. So they feel like, I know for a fact because I have friends from Boston, and they feel like they've been just going through the worst times. They haven't won a championship in almost 5 years. So I do think Boston is going to be electric. I think they're going to ride that energy, and it's going to be 2-1 Celtics after tonight.
2-1 Celtics. So we will talk about that tonight. Series that has been entertaining for the first half, Patrick. The 2 first halves have been a lot of fun to watch. It's gotten away from both teams in the third quarter. I guess the fourth quarter in game 1 when the Celtics outscored the Warriors 40-16 and took home a 120-108 victory. And then in the last game, I'm sorry. Yep, Celtics outscored the Warriors 40-16. And then on Sunday night, it was the Warriors outscoring the Celtics 35-14 in the third quarter to build a 25-point lead and go on to a big victory there over the Celtics in game 2. So tonight, game 3, and I'll say it again, Patrick, I really don't have a rooting interest. I'm with you. I think it should be a lot of fun there tonight. I think it should be a great atmosphere in Boston. The finals back in Boston, that's a place that you always enjoy seeing. But I'm just pulling for a good game, something that keeps me entertained into the final few minutes of the fourth quarter, because that's kind of, to me, what's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals, but no one would say that it was really a great series. It was just pretty much blowout after blowout.
Right.
So, and I think we'd say that these first two, the first game was a pretty good game because it was just it at least went to the fourth quarter. You just don't see outbursts like that in the fourth quarter. So you have to, I guess, say that was a good game, even though it wasn't close at the end. But I would like to see finally an NBA Finals game where the game is on the line with 2 minutes to go. Like, that's what I love, because it feels like every possession is huge. Can't make a mistake. Every shot is huge. Like, that is what I love seeing. And I mean, Steph has made a lot of clutch shots in his career, but I want to see like a young guy like Jason Tatum with a ball in his hands with a minute left or win a game in the NBA Finals. That's what I want to see. I don't want to just see blowouts and the last couple minutes is just the backups are in, resting up for the next game. We need close games.
So we'll talk more about that this morning as we go along. Obviously, NBA Finals and, again, the Live Golf Tour taking kind of center stage today. But we will also get into a little bit of soccer discussion with Tony Annan here later this morning as he joins us. So we just like being outdoors, and we're back outdoors. Jen just likes us being out, or particularly me being out of the studio, so she can enjoy the studio to herself and not have to worry about anything that we do in there. So she's
hot, though. You made the right call.
Yeah.
It's not hot, but
it's been warm this week. I've been out here a little bit. My son Austin is participating in the camp, and so I've hung around and watched a little bit. I really had, to be honest, it's one of the first times I've had the chance to go across the street, walk past the Doty, and walk through the entire kind of athletic complex that they have over there with the tennis courts, with Wheeler Beach that we talked with Coach Moritz back when we were at Founders Park a few months ago. And look at really the whole complex, and it's a really nice complex that South Carolina has built over to my right here, where what was home of the old Sarge Fry Field, but the softball stadium over there, very nice. They're doing some maintenance on the grounds I've been looking at, but really nice facility just in terms of promoting, your softball, your men's and women's tennis. We talked about beach volleyball. Soccer has got a nice little training facility, the track and field area over there. The Doty is over there, the Rice Athletic Center, everything kind of over there. To me, when I was here, it was Sarge Fry Field and the Roost. And so, but it's a really nice facility over there, and they've done a good job. And the kids this week have been able to go over to the soccer facility and train, and then come back to the Doty and enjoy lunch. I had a chance to walk through there yesterday and kind of see some of the things they've done in there over the last few years. So entertaining week, to say the least, so far. And it takes a step up today with an appearance from a kitten. This is a kitten, right? Like, it's a cat. But so if you hear a cat in the background, contact anybody you know on Whaley Street, which is what we assume maybe this cat has come from, and it's going to be a part of the program, it appears, for the next 3 hours.
Definitely not.
That's when you have a good sports talk radio show, is when cats just beat you to the facility and are waiting on you to show up so that they can be a part of the program.
It's kind of making me sad because I don't know what it's looking for. It's just meowing at the building. I don't know. It's playing with a shoe right now. Whose shoe is that?
It's a kid's shoe, man. I don't know.
It was just sitting on the table. We walked out to do a show, and there's just one shoe sitting on the table.
There's a kid that left yesterday with one shoe on.
So if your kid was at the camp yesterday and he forgot one of his shoes, we have it.
Yeah. So when you arrive back today, the cat's been playing with the shoe. So we got a lot that we'll get into this morning as we go through. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. As always, you can join us on our live stream, where several people weighing in this morning. You can go and be a part of that. Trey, Jerry, DC, Anthony. DC asking if I brought my cat. No, don't have a cat, don't have a dog. I'm not a pet owner.
No, wasn't that a whole thing when we were doing the show from home? Did you have a cat outside?
Nah, Lauren had a cat that would show up every once in a while. Clyde the cat, that would show up.
The cat got in your house one day.
Yeah, it's the friendliest cat. Like, the cat's confused. It just thinks everybody feeds, which is
I forgot about that. I wonder if that was what he was referencing, because there was a post show where you were running around the house trying to track the cat. Yeah, Clyde
the cat. Lauren's cat it's a different kind of cat, but it doesn't live with me. It does not stay at the house, so it just wanders in if you leave the door open. So at least I'm accustomed to this a little bit. It'll be an interesting morning. We'll get out on the soccer pitch here in a little while and kick it around. What did you say yesterday? A wee little kick around. We'll get out there and do that this morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. And again, you can join us on the live stream this morning. Jess weighing in and said, "Morning, guys. As a Celtics fan, looking forward to game number 3 tonight in Boston. Who would be your top 3 NBA trash talkers of all time?" Jess going with Sir Charles, Allen Iverson, Dennis Rodman.
The biggest one that I see missing is Kevin Garnett.
I was going to go Gary Payton. Gary Payton was pretty good, and his son will be his son on the Warriors now. So
Draymond's pretty good. Do you know what Draymond said about the 80s and 90s players?
We'll let you tell us about that when we come back. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perrette. We are live from Stone Stadium, where the Tony Annan cat's back on the table. This is going to be the most confusing show I've ever done, but we are live from Stone Stadium. It's the Tony Annan little Gamecock soccer camp taking place this week, and we're going to hang out here this morning. Some of the campers will start arriving here in about 2 hours, and they'll get to see a radio program. It'll be a lot of fun this morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. Yep. Yeah, I just texted me. Yep, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'll do it right here. Sorry. Oh, I tell you what. The cat, maybe we'll call the cat Chevy, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe in honor of Love Chevrolet. The great folks out at Love Chevrolet, always providing the absolute best customer service. That's what made Love Chevrolet stay in business for over 60 years, helping the folks of the Midlands purchase that next great vehicle. And now purchasing a great vehicle is important, but getting quality customer service, getting salespeople who have experience and knowledge, that's become even more important. You've seen prices lately, and when you go to purchase a car, it's a big purchase. It's important. It's a little scary, to be quite honest. And I tell you what, in a matter of doing that, you want somebody who's knowledgeable, who's friendly, and is ready to help you make that important purchase. And that's exactly what you get at Love Chevrolet. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Of course, along with all of that great customer service, they have great deals as well. The $1,000 low price guarantee, which means you can shop other dealerships, take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they will top it. Or you can also check out the incredible selection of vehicles, 14 acres to choose from of great brand new Chevrolets. And of course, it's a fantastic certified pre-owned lot as well. So whatever you're looking for at Love Chevrolet, I can guarantee you're going to find. And not only are you going to find it, you're going to find a great customer service and sales staff ready to help you. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
I was just wondering if it's trying to get its way out, and I was hoping it would follow me and just run out this way.
Where are you at?
To your right.
Cat's right here. Meowing away.
Trying to follow me and like run out the gate because I just.
It's right there. And a massive bug too. There it is. He's just not real sure what to do here. Ah, the fun of being on location. Oh, great. Well, you want me to try and handle it? I don't know if we want him. I don't know if they want him here when the kids don't.
It's gonna run away at that point.
Is it? Doesn't seem to be really running away from us. What are you looking for? Oh, look, I'll go ahead and pick it up. Scratch it. Did a mother cat have a litter? There's. Hey, keep an eye in case we come back. Bring us back.
We are not. Whatever we're in is not on. Whatever we're plugged into is not on.
Well, the light's on. No, mine's not working either. But it was actually, this started charging yesterday when I plugged it in. It might be the plug. Oh my gosh, that's a large working out?
No. That's going to be a problem.
You might have to plug directly into the outlet. It worked yesterday.
Well, you know, you've got content for a TikTok video.
This is true. Now it's charging. Well, that's
Where are you
strange.
at?
I mean, I'm fine for now. My main thing is, are we back? Yeah, we got more than enough for a TikTok, Jen. $6:21 on a Wednesday morning, June the 8th. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette.
The largest cockroach I've ever seen.
It's not. That was a beetle. It's a lot going on. That was a beetle. I saw it. There's a large beetle. We've got Soccer Kitty here with us. There's a lot going on. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette. We are live from Stone Stadium here, the Tony Ann and Little Gamecocks soccer camp taking place this week. And we decided to come out here and kick it around. We had talked about being out here a little bit and doing some stuff with the soccer team. So this was a great opportunity, Patrick, for us to get out here and be a part of what Tony Annan is trying to build here. We appreciate him coming on our program. He'll be a part this morning, but a lot of other stuff for us to discuss as well. One of the topics that we were getting into there in the previous segment, thank you to Jess on our text line, is trash talkers, the great trash talkers. It will start in the NBA, but I guess you can go all time just in any sport. But if you go NBA and you had to go top three, Jess on our text line, 803-404-6100, Jess went with Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, and Dennis Rodman. I got to admit, those three would not be on my list at all. I would have Gary Payton, Kevin Garnett, and I think you're right. I think Draymond Green might have worked his way into that conversation as well.
Underrated. I mean, he clearly gets under people's skin, but I think Marcus Smart does too. But I do think, just in terms of being a gnat or an instigator, Draymond Green is prolific and he's been one of the most polarizing or hated players by people not on his team for really the last 7-8 years since the dynasty run has started.
He's, again, a different thing. And I don't think you have – Marcus Smart is not really a trash talker, but he's more of an annoying player with the intensity and the hustle that he plays with. And, Patrick, I think that's kind of one of the things that's a little bit different in terms of certain players that maybe play hard or play with intensity, but they don't talk as much trash. I don't think Marcus Smart talks a whole lot of trash, but I feel like he's more of a guy who's annoying to play against because of the effort that he plays with and how he just is. Like, to me, that's Dennis Rodman. Yeah. Dennis Rodman was annoying to play against, but I don't think Dennis Rodman was necessarily a trash talker in that he was being vocal all game. He just, I think who was it in the Bad Boys? I think it was the Bad Boys 30 for 30, and they were talking about how Rodman was just annoying, was tugging on his shorts the whole game, and just being a pest. Generally, like, I think that's more of what Rodman was as opposed to a guy like Kevin Garnett, and to me, Gary Payton as guys that just flat wouldn't shut up all game long.
Was Jordan didn't talk trash or did talk trash?
Jordan did talk trash. Jordan talked trash to anybody and everybody that was around him. His team. The funniest one is on the NBA TV.
Payton, I really didn't watch. Jordan, I didn't watch, except for his last year as a Wizard when I was really young. So I just don't have a catalog on any of these people.
The funniest, there was a documentary on the Seattle Supersonics that I watched one time, and they were a lot of fun to watch. They had Gary Payton, they had Sean Kemp, they had Detlef Schrempf, they had a lot of good players. Made the NBA Finals there, won against the Bulls. But part of what they talked about with those guys was going against, when you went against the Supersonics, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton talked so much trash they would get bored and start trash talking each other. and that they would be. I can't remember who it was. It was some random player in the documentary that I saw on NBA TV a while back about it. And he was like, it would kind of freak you out. You're in the middle of this game. The next thing you know, you think that Gary Payton and Sean Kemp are about to get in the fight. The way they're trash talking each other, and it was very interesting. But
some guys just won't give it back.
yeah, well, that's
got to be very frustrating when that's all you're trying to do, and they just won't say a word.
They won't say anything to you. It's all in how you choose it. 803-404-6100. If you've got a good trash talking story, if you want to weigh in on the top 3 trash talkers of all time, a couple of you have weighed in. Larry Bird is one that comes to mind from anonymous texter. Richard weighs in with John Starks and Vernon Maxwell. I think Mad Max was do you know who Vernon Maxwell is? Former point guard for the Houston Rockets is what I remember him for, leading the Rockets to the NBA Finals. And John Starks was a nemesis. I was a Miami Heat fan, and Starks was a part of those Knicks teams that they were awful games to watch. You talk about when NBA basketball went really bad back in the day, and it was like 75-70, and it was all defense and very physical. And John Starks,
that's great to watch.
That was not entertaining back then. It was bad basketball, and the Heat and the Knicks were prime teams that were part of bad basketball, but John Starks wasn't. I think that was, Richard, one of the series where John Starks and I think Alonzo Mourning got into it, and Jeff Van Gundy went running out onto the floor and latched her. And you ought to go find that video on your YouTube and look it up, Patrick, so you can check that out. Jason weighs in this morning. Reggie Miller was the best trash talker. Gene weighs in. Larry Bird, Gary Payton, Michael Jordan, great trash talker. So if you want to weigh in on that this morning, 803-404-6100. Coming up in about 45 minutes, we will continue the countdown that we've had going on. The top 30 South Carolina football players of the SEC era. So since 1992. Player number 28 will be today. It's a defensive player. It'll be our first defensive player of the countdown, and we will certainly continue to talk about that particular player and what we think about his career. I'll just say this, Patrick. It's going to be interesting to hear the feedback from the player today.
It will.
And how people view him or what they think of him. 803-404-6100 is, again, how you can join us. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen back in studio. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. All right. I charge that for a little while. It'll have more than enough. I think the cat is meowing itself out. Or not. Should ask her. That's not. I saw you looking up the roster. I get his name. What is it? Kowski. They told me yesterday. How's that charging? Can you see? Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. I don't know. It's flashing.
You guys need to feed that cat?
We definitely don't want it flashing.
You can unplug this for now.
How about now? Charging up?
Yes.
Come on. What? Hey, don't drink my coffee.
You need to fix some breakfast.
I'm gonna walk down here. Yeah, I'm with you. I wonder if it came in. It's got turned around in these bushes.
There's nothing over there.
Oh, it's maybe.
All right, we're back.
Eight zero 404-6100. How you can weigh in this morning. Part of the discussion starting off on best trash talkers, especially in the NBA. Patrick, I think the NBA is what lends itself to great trash. Like, it's hard to trash talk, I think, in hockey, isn't it? Because the amount. What? Here's why. And maybe you're going to think I'm crazy. Hockey seems like the sport where two things. You exert the most energy, and two, you're really not on the ice for that long. It feels like last night there was a fight in the Lightning Rangers game. You start trash talking a little bit too much in hockey, it's going to be a fight. There's no, especially during the regular season. You disagree with me, hockey?
That's a terrible take. I mean, hockey is known for just the most savage trash talk.
Really?
Of anything. They trash talk the refs. Yes. Oh, yeah. Have you heard the way they talk to the refs?
No.
Oh, they give the refs beat downs. You need to watch a mic'd up hockey video. It is the most they're leaning over the bench, talking trash to each other. Yeah, it is not.
Well, no, but on the ice, I mean, because you're skating and
ice,
skating.
It's stop and start too. If there's an offside or an icing, and they're hitting each other after the play, they're getting each other's face on the face-off circles. They're talking to each other, and yeah, it is. I think hockey is probably the most trash talk of any sport.
Okay, there you go.
It is insane. I mean, football too. Just because after every single play, when a guy gets tackled, someone's going to be unhappy, blocking a little too long, or laying down on a guy after you've tackled him, or pushing up off of him to let yourself up. There's always some little thing that someone's gonna get upset about at the end of a football play.
Well, we talked about it, and trash talkers, and I'm trying to think. Cam Smith, South Carolina's defensive back, who now is drawing some projections in the first round for next year. A lot of people thinking or expecting Cam Smith to have a really good year here in 2022 for South Carolina, and will be a big part of that pass defense for the Gamecocks. We got angry at him for trash talking a lot early in the season, right? Because he got some unnecessary penalties for some of his antics. DJ Swearinger, on the other hand, was a massive trash talker. Still is a massive trash talker. Would let everybody, including the fans, know what
got
he.
some penalties for it.
But he was beloved. Now, was he beloved because he was on really great defenses and that attitude fit in? Because that's part of trash talking, right? Like, you got to have your other guys. You can't just be individually good and a trash talker. Michael Jordan wouldn't have been a great trash talker if his team wasn't winning 6 NBA championships, right?
I don't know if DJ Swearinger, in obviously the famous picture, were you upset at the time? Like, does anybody recall?
No. There was no Gamecock fan that was upset at the time. There was absolutely zero.
I feel like there were.
Steve Spurrier was one.
Well, what was the score?
It's a good question.
Because if they had lost that game, if that had kept the drive alive for Clemson, and Clemson had scored there and won the game or something, people would be like, he's an idiot. I think that might be selective memory or kind of changing around, because you'll be excited in a moment when you see a guy lay down a big hit and you're pumped, and then he taunts and you're like, wow, you're an idiot. You know you can't. That's the one thing you can't do. So I do feel like there are some people that obviously that play lives in infamy, but there were definitely people upset.
I don't think so. Maybe the coaching staff, maybe one or two of those guys, but I don't think, because Patrick, the hit
I need to know what the situation was in that game at that moment.
The hit was so brutal, and Andre Ellington, the way Andre Ellington spiraled around, and plus at that time, South Carolina, that run, that was a play that kind of signified at that moment the dominance that South Carolina was starting to.
If they were dominating in the game, then maybe it signified it, but it's more of a hindsight thing.
I'm telling you,
what was the score of that game?
The final was 27-17. I'm going back. I'm going to see if I can track down exactly what the score was when that play occurred. I believe, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was the third quarter when that play took place. And I'll look. Let me see. I'll see if I can track it down here real quick and figure out what exactly the score was. But it was a play that I'm actually looking to see if it led to a Clemson drive. Or excuse me.
I don't know what the down was. I don't know any of the details around that play. I just recall the highlight.
I would say it was this. All right, here's what I think I have. Fourth quarter, 13:01 to go in the game. Second and 4. It's 20-17. Ellington comes around the right end for 9 yards. DJ Swearinger hits him, and a personal foul is accepted. I'm going to assume that's the play. 20-17, and then
it's 2nd and 4. It was a first down. DJ Swearinger puts him at the 50-yard line. You're up 3 points in the fourth quarter. People were definitely mad at him.
I don't know.
People were definitely mad at the moment.
Look what happened after that play. Boyd rushes for 3 yards. There's a first down. There's Taj Boyd is incomplete to DeAndre Hopkins. Second down, Boyd rushes for 3 yards. It's 3rd and 7. South Carolina calls a timeout, and on 3rd and 7, Taj Boyd's intercepted by Bryson Williams of South Carolina. Clemson would not score again in the game. And as a matter of fact, South Carolina, after that interception, would drive 13 plays and 65 yards to put the nail in the coffin in the Tigers of that game. I don't know. 803-404-6100. As the play happened, were you upset at DJ Swearinger for what happened?
I think people are going to be lying.
Well, that is.
It was a 3-point game, and you put Clemson on the 50-yard line. People were definitely upset. I honestly don't believe people that were like, yeah, that's exactly what we needed in that moment. Yeah, give him 15 more.
Gene, I think, and Gene might be right. And Patrick, you might be right, because we're talking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We're talking 10 years ago. So, and South Carolina does go on to win the game. But I
If
think
Clemson scored a touchdown on that drive and took a 4-point lead and
Would
South
we-
Carolina
would we-
lost the football game, that play would not be famous.
would that picture still
That
be out
picture
there?
might be out there, but it wouldn't be looked at as this amazing moment.
803-404-6100. A couple of you went in. Gene says DJ blew him up and it was awesome. We got another
That was awesome.
another anonymous texter weighing in. No shot any Gamecocks were mad after that play. It rivals Clowney's hit, no doubt. Josh Wing says, I remember it clearly and was mad. I hate trash talk. Let your play do your thing. And then our buddy Clemson Sean says, I loathe Jungle Boy swag. 803-404-6100. If you want to weigh in on that, I will tell you, DJ Swearinger is not player number 28. We would not have given it away. I promise you, guarantee you, he is not the number 28 player on our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC.
Yesterday was Mike Davis. But a couple people say
Yeah.
who was number 29. If you missed yesterday, number 30, Stephen Garcia. Number 29, Mike Davis.
Mike Davis, the running back from back 2011 to 2013. So 803-404-6100. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perrett. Our soccer kitty has disappeared back into the bush over here to our right. But we are out here at Tony Annan's little Gamecock soccer camp taking place. We get going again about 9 o'clock this morning. It's day 3 out here. We're out here. We're going to get Coach Annan on here in the 8 o'clock hour. And Patrick and I, if you can go and join the live stream, Patrick and I will, I'm sure, be out on the pitch in just a little while, showing off our soccer skill. You can go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click subscribe, and watch us and join in with the commentary that's taking place on the live stream. Steven, weighing in on our live stream, says, actually, at the time, I was really not mad. I loved DJ Swearinger. And RL has a good point. He says, I wish I could pull up message board histories and radio interviews from that moment. That would
Yeah, like I want to see group text. I want to see tweets from that moment where they're like, DJ, you made a great play and you gave up 15 yards. Now Clemson's almost in our own territory. It's fourth quarter. It's a big moment. Like, I just don't believe everybody. I definitely think people were upset by that at the time.
803-404-6100. We'll continue with this discussion coming up at about 7:15 this morning. We'll get you player number 28 in our countdown of the top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perrett. It's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 1075 The Game. I think the cat's running out of meowing steam.
The hit was bigger than the game situation.
The hit was something.
And people like, I knew we were gonna win. You're up 3 points. It wasn't a 14.
I don't know.
Game.
You got to back.
And you know what? Is Hope up yet? Because I guarantee you, Hope was pissed. Hope said we're about to lose. I guarantee in that moment that hit happened, and Hope said we just lost.
We're down.
We just lost.
We're done.
It's over.
Boy, that's hard. Yeah, we need soccer. We need a soccer ball. Get out on the pitch. I'm pretty sure my laptop is still, I just need to charge it a little bit. I'm sure yours will still connect out there. Yeah.
This can get us into all of those.
There's got to be a soccer ball in there somewhere. Yeah, because there's this little table right here. And, well, a little wet. Two. Cat's about to go after the beetle.
Is it?
Yeah. All right, they both went in different directions.
Getting rid of this thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Nobody gets it.
No, we'll have to get back into that. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Yeah. I know. You seem playful but confused. Well, don't go through there, please. Or my luck is I'll put my hand down. He's gonna just smack the crap out of it with his claws. This cat's fascinating. All right. We continue to watch the kitty cat that is roaming around, meowing. We don't know if it just wants to be part of the program, if it just loves the early game that much. I believe it's asking where Jen Jensen is. But our soccer kitty, who was here when we arrived this morning, you can watch him or her, whatever the cat is, on the live stream. It's hopped up on the table a couple times and apparently tried to run the board, or this little board that we have here. So we've got that going. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette. We are live from Stone Stadium, the home of the South Carolina men's and women's soccer team. It is the Tony Ann and Little Gamecocks soccer camp that's taking place. You can hear the train in the background, Patrick, a integral part of this side of campus in Columbia. I got stopped by one earlier, tried to get down here this week. We've talked a little bit about DJ Swearinger this morning. The trash talking is what led us down that path, and I'm going to go back to a picture you just had there in a second of a guy who likes to talk and get your opinion on that one. But let me read some of the comments coming in. 803-404-6100 coming in on the text line. Anonymous texter says DJ could talk all the trash he wanted because he could back it up. There's the game versus Arkansas where he gets 2 flags back to back and gets a pick six and launches the ball into the stands. That man is a dog. Will weighing in and agreeing with you says Patrick is right. I was ticked when DJ taunted after the devastating hit. The game was still hanging in the balance, but I love the hit. DJ is one of my favorite Gamecock players. Kevin weighing in this morning says aggravated, yes, but the fact that Clemson was the opponent made it completely acceptable. Cody weighing in says he'll take a guess at number 28. Says Patrick DeMarco. It's a defensive player, Cody. Defense. Pat DeMarco didn't play defense. He probably could have been a really good linebacker. Kyle and Elgin weighing in this morning says that was my first game at Death Valley. You could feel it in the air. Clemson didn't have a chance. We heard the hit from way in the upper deck, and we weren't mad at all. And if your only proof that people are mad is the hypothetical if Clemson scored, you're wrong.
But that's the point. That's in the moment when things like that happen, you always think the worst. Maybe not. Maybe some people are just hyper optimistic sports fans. I'm not that way. There's so many things in sports that you get immediate gratification, or you're immediately in the moment, like, why did you do that? That was stupid. And then you're proven wrong a second later. Like when the coach goes, don't shoot that, don't shoot that, don't shoot that. Okay, it went in.
Well, but isn't it also the mentality of a team that you can make a play like that, set the tone, kind of change the momentum, and you know you're going to back it up? Because, Patrick, I'll say this, and we're not going to blame you for this, but when you arrived on this campus, South Carolina football took a downturn, kind of a significant downturn, yes. But there was, back in that period of South Carolina football, that little 4-year window right there, it was the attitude of, we can make that play and establish ourselves, and we'll be fine. You got to remember, going into that game, and again, 803-404-6100, we're talking about trash talkers, great trash talkers. That's led us to talking about DJ Swearinger and the hit that he had on Andre Ellington 10 years ago. Going into that game, there was a lot of confidence on the South Carolina side. All week long, though, we were unaware Connor Shaw was going to be out. So ESPN, I think some people started to get wind of it pre-game. I believe, like the Big Spur and Gamecock Central started to report it pre-game, like an hour and a half before the game. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, wait, Connor Shaw's not playing? And at that point, Dylan Thompson had done some nice things. But Dylan Thompson wasn't the Dylan Thompson that we now look back on and be like, oh, yeah, Dylan Thompson could step in and handle this. Dylan Thompson had actually come in. Connor Shaw had gotten hurt in the season opener against Vanderbilt. And Thompson had come in for like a series or two and looked awful. Like really, really bad. Like, uh-oh, there goes this season. And then Connor Shaw managed to come back in, and South Carolina pulled out a Thursday night win in Nashville. But going back to that, the Dylan Thompson that we're finding out about, the game's on ESPN, and ESPN comes on and they're flashing, they're going, all right, Dylan Thompson's going to start. And there's a lot of Gamecock fans at that point going, oh boy. Yeah. And as this game's going on, Thompson's starting to hit passes and make plays. I was told by one of the coaching staff that game, that 2012 game, is at the time, obviously things have completely changed as we sit here 10 years later. But at that time, Clemson finds out that Connor Shaw is not going to play. And the Clemson coaches became supremely confident they were going to win and end the losing streak. And that it was that loss that kind of cemented Steve Spurrier being in the head of Clemson at that time, taking Dylan Thompson and going up there. And Thompson was fantastic that night. And Ace Sanders made several plays. And it was a run by Thompson late in the game that, as a matter of fact, on the scoring drive, that really solidified, I think, as many great plays as Dylan Thompson did end up having. There was a 3rd and 19 late in the game, 3rd and 19 with 6 minutes to go at the Clemson 26, and it looks like South Carolina may have to settle for a field goal that would have only put them up 6 at the time. And instead, on 3rd and 19, fleet-footed Dylan Thompson rumbles 20 yards for a first down, and then the Gamecocks would end up scoring a touchdown on 3rd and goal with Thompson.
Was that the very next drive?
Yeah, that was that Bryson Williams intercepts Taj Boyd after the hit. The Gamecocks go down the field and score the touchdown again. So you've got the DJ Swearinger hitting on 3rd and 19. Again, Dylan Thompson, well known for his speed.
Yeah, sweet feet Thompson.
I think that's what they called him in practice all week but it rumbles for 20 yards and South Carolina picks up the first down. And by the way, if you go back and watch the highlight of that, it was not the most graceful run. It was like a pinball making it down the field. Like Clemson defenders are just bouncing off of him because I think everybody's confused that he's taking off down the field. It was something to behold. But there was an attitude that you could make that play, you could make that mistake, and it would be okay. It's kind of like people are pointing out the game against Arkansas. DJ Swearinger's out there picking up multiple personal foul penalties, just giving Arkansas like 30 yards. And it's like, I'll just pick off the ball myself and run it all the way back. And then I'll grab a 3rd personal foul penalty by throwing the football out of the stadium. It was a mentality that, quite frankly, the great teams have. Alabama has it. All right, we're going to make a mistake. We're going to overcome it. Clemson had it a few years ago with their really good teams. I think Ohio State has had that mentality. Georgia had it this year. Yeah, we can make a mistake. We can have a bad penalty, but we're going to overcome it. South Carolina's got to get back to that kind of mentality.
I don't think if you ask most South Carolina fans what was going on in the game when that happened, they would remember. They just probably remembered as like, oh, we were just whooping Clemson, and DJ hit Ellington really hard. And
but it wasn't the hit.
No big deal.
Remember, the hit's not the personal foul.
The foul was the taunt.
Was the flex.
Yes.
And it's one thing. If DJ Swearinger might have stepped over him and said something where as a fan base, you're like, what did he say? What did he do? Then you're probably upset. but he flexed on it.
That
And
picture,
he bent and flexed.
that
and
picture is probably in the rule books when referees
just
are
like
going
it's
to school.
shown.
When they're going to ref school, that's probably what they watch.
803-404-6100.
Because we were mad at Cam Smith. Everybody was mad at Cam Smith. Everybody was so mad at Cam Smith. What's the difference? That we were good back
Got
then.
a flex.
That
Well,
we were
that
good
is,
back
that is
then.
you. You
Pretty
can
much
overcome it. You can overcome it. 803-404-6100. We'll get to more of your text messages in the next hour. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we're going to get you player number 28 on our Gamecock countdown of the top 30 players of the SEC era. And Phil Mickelson is in the Live Golf Tour Series, and he showed up in pictures yesterday, Patrick.
It was not a good picture.
We'll talk a little golf. We are out here at Stone Stadium. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret. It is the Tony Annan, first ever Tony Annan Little Gamecocks soccer camp going on. Players will start arriving in about an hour. It's day 3. We'll see how they're feeling. We'll get on the pitch ourselves and kick it around. We got a lot to do over the next 2 hours. It's Patrick Perret. It's Bill Gunner. Jen Jensen's in studio. It's the early game. 107.5. All right, either the cat has disappeared or it's grown tired of the show.
Nope, it's just sitting under the bench.
So the cat now feels comfortable with us. All right, you should be able to unplug that. That should give us. And now it's back meowing. Oh yeah, we're good there. I don't know what's wrong with that. All right, I want to fix this for a second. What?
The table's leaning against the door. Just going outside.
That's all right. Just open it. There you go. Now it's stopped. Well, the cat ran off. Let's see if we can that. All I'm trying to do is just when people come out, be able to see the little thing. So I'm just going to take this. I've already pulled this up. Just pull that down. Watch your computer. Pull that down to you when it's right there. Just put your computer there. I don't put it on that chair or something. Just it's plugged in. There you go. There you go. All right. So if you want, just pull it all the way down where it's kind of. There you go. I'd actually pull this corner to you. All right, hold on. All right, watch your computer. Pull that. I'd actually pull it that way so it's just hanging down. Yeah. Okay. I think that'll work. That way we just look like. Oh, I get it. Let's just go. He's got one of the
club coaches from England, from Liverpool here too. He was talking about trying to
Get him on.
Yeah, he was like, your buddy Patrick will love that.
That'll be funny.
Yeah, Josh, the cat is. Our number 2, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen. Jen back in studio. Patrick and I at Stone Stadium, home of the men and women's soccer teams, where not currently, but coming up later today, Tony Annan's first annual Little Gamecocks soccer camp will continue on. It'll be day 3 out here, but coming up here in about an hour, Coach Annan will join us as he does each and every week. Now he's become part of the program. We enjoy having him on. Might catch up with another guest or two this morning and talk a little soccer with him. And Patrick, I'm going to ask him a serious question. As a guy who's very familiar, obviously, with the sport, Tony is, who grew up in England, has been over here, was a big part of Atlanta United. When we talk about you and Austin, my son, because Austin's playing, I've gotten more into soccer probably over the last 18 months. And by more into it, I mean I've gotten into watching the EPL. You and I, what was it, the European Cup last year that we were watching each and every morning?
Oh, the Euros, yeah.
The Euros, yeah. That we got into a good bit, and really enjoyed, fun to watch. But I'm going to ask Coach Annan, from what he's seen, what needs to happen for soccer to continue to grow in this country? Because you look at it, there's 156 to 10-year-olds out here this week. Soccer is a growing sport. Is it just a matter of the younger generation getting older? Whereas I think the older generation, people who are 45, probably 45 and above, I believe, still don't necessarily get into the sport. I think they see it as a different sport, whereas I want to say people 45, 40 and younger are starting to view baseball the way that the 45 and older crowd views soccer.
Yeah, I do think in a lot of ways soccer is probably benefiting from people getting bored of baseball. It's too slow of a game. That's why I stopped playing baseball when I was a kid. And there's also going to be the people that there's a new growing number of people that don't want their kids playing football either. American football, like the violence, the concussions, and things like that. Some people are turning away from the sport of football, so maybe those two things will help soccer grow. That's always been the problem with soccer in America, is there's just too many other sports to play. Every other sport or every other country in the world, all of the best athletes in the country play soccer.
And I don't think soccer will ever surpass football and basketball. But kind of on the same point, we talked a little bit. Your buddy and the team that you're very familiar with, Gamecock lacrosse. Lacrosse is a growing sport. Jen's familiar with. Jen's son played at Lexington, and Jen's very, very familiar with the game of lacrosse. And Jen, just like we kind of talked about soccer, lacrosse, obviously, I think it's an American sport. It's more of an okay.
It's the oldest North American sport.
Is it? All right. So Jen, you're familiar with it, and you watched as your son kind of came up. And Patrick, you played in college. Y'all seen kind of the growth of lacrosse over the last few years. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and
A lot of the complaints that people have about soccer, low scoring, you can end in a tie. Those don't happen in lacrosse. It's very fast paced and it's physical. So I do think lacrosse is going to the moon.
it is. I mean, and again, I think you see that it'll be interesting as Austin, my son, is 10, and I continue to see change. Look, travel baseball, especially out in Lexington and Gilbert, is still massive. I still baseball's not. Let's be clear, baseball is not dying here. This isn't a sport that in 20 years we're going to be wondering what happened to it. But I do see Josh weighing in on our live stream. It says the team in Charlotte has a great product, talking about the Charlotte FC team that has a great product for an easy price. He also says Atlanta United has an amazing game day experience at Mercedes-Benz. So, yeah, I mean, you've had the sport is growing. And I'll talk to Coach Annan about this too, though. Does something need to happen with the MLS? Or does something need to happen over here to put it into another level because the kids are flocking to it, and part of it is it's an easy sport. And don't take this the wrong way, but soccer's an easy sport to play. You have a ball.
Well, that's why it's the biggest youth sport
Right.
in America.
It's whereas baseball. It is no, and that's something because baseball, and I'm not talking about club or travel where you start paying these crazy prices, but baseball, you got to have a glove, you got to have a bat. It's general, and now Austin never really got into it, but I don't know if they probably now more so with COVID. I don't think they necessarily supply the helmet either. I mean, now you're having to buy the helmet, the bat, the glove. It gets. I'm not saying that.
And somebody has to be there with you to get good at baseball. Like
True.
you have to have someone to throw the ball to you or pitch to you. Soccer, that's always been the beauty of soccer. Just you don't need anyone with you. You can juggle and improve your footwork. You can dribble and do things like that. You can shoot on your own. Like soccer is the easiest sport. I'm trying to think of something else. I mean, lacrosse, you play wall ball, and that's what I always suggest to kids is just get on the wall. But there's nothing stopping you from being a better soccer player. If you just have a ball in your foot, you're going to get better.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Again, we are out here at Stone Stadium, and we'll hype it up a little bit because South Carolina, Tony Annan, in his second season, I've had a chance to talk to him a good bit this week. He's very excited. Cat's up here, man.
It was just hitting my knee under the.
We've got a cat. If you're just tuning in, we arrived here this morning. There is a little kitty cat out here that was waiting on us. Big fan of the program. It's hung around all morning. It's meowing in the background. So if you're wondering why you keep hearing, if you're driving somewhere and you keep hearing a meowing, you don't have a cat in your car. It's out here with us at Stone Stadium. And I look forward to seeing Tony's reaction when he learns of this. That's going to be like the excitement of my morning is seeing his reaction when he learns of this cat. But I want to get back to that. What I was mentioning is we're going to spend some of the summer hyping it up. So I know Coach Annan is very excited about this particular team that he's got. He's brought in 17 newcomers. He's very excited about changing kind of some of the athleticism and the philosophies that they've had to go with last year as he took over the program and kind of assessed everything. And on September 2nd, South Carolina will open with Clemson here at Stone Stadium in Clemson. Kudos to that. That's a great program. The Tigers have been consistent in soccer. They're the defending national champions. And South Carolina Coach Annan wants to get about 6,000 out here, pack out the stadium. That'll be the Labor Day weekend. It'll be the night before Georgia State rolls into town. And that's something that they really want to push for. We certainly want to help them push for it as Coach Annan looks to build this program up to the level of what Clemson's been able to do up there. And South Carolina will get the defending national champions in here at Stone Stadium, here at their house on September 2nd. Again, will be 7 o'clock. And I'll get you more information as well on season tickets for soccer. It's a great deal, $25 for both the men's and the women's season tickets. So a lot of great things there taking place down here. And we love having Coach Annan on each and every week.
Do you know off the top of your head the capacity here?
6,000 is what he said. I think the bleachers behind us are roughly, if I remember correctly, roughly 4,800, and then standing room only adds about another 12. So when they're absolutely packed out, you're getting out to about 6,000. And they've got some plans to do some upgrades here at Stone Stadium and make it one of the better venues. Obviously, going back to that real quick, make it one of the better venues in the country. That's where that television revenue that we've been talking about coming in from, Texas, Oklahoma, and everything, that's where that can pay off. Because again,
everybody's throwing money into football facility upgrades. You start putting some of the money into soccer upgrades and building something different here at Stone Stadium, adding a new scoreboard, adding some extra bleachers, doing things of that nature. And that money, that revenue that's going to come in from those television deals certainly changes things a good bit as to what Coach Ann and everybody wants to do here in terms of building a national championship caliber program. So we'll continue talking about that this morning. He has arrived. Again, I look forward to the cat magically disappeared as soon as Coach Ann. Oh, no, the cat's still here. So we look forward to catching up with him this hour and talking with him. But right now, it's time to give you the number 28 player on our countdown of the top 30 players of the SEC era at the University of South Carolina. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll catch up. We'll talk a little bit about that player. It's a defensive player. We'll also catch up with Coach Ann in this hour. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. I have been out here. I've been hanging around. I'm too old, even though I'm the right height requirement. But I'm too old to be in Coach Ann soccer camp. So I've been out here, Patrick, all week, and it is warm. It has been exceptionally warm. So when I go home in the afternoon, the air conditioner is a fantastic item to have at my house. And thanks to AAA Heating and Air, it is working fantastic. It's doing its job, and I am thankful that I got in touch with AAA Heating and Air early on to get a maintenance package done on my heating and air unit, and I encourage you to do the same as well. It's only going to get hotter this summer if you're unaware. You can call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Whether it's maintenance or whether you need a whole brand new unit, AAA Heating and Air has got you taken care of. If you're looking for a new unit, AAA Heating and Air will offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. Then they'll work with you. Even if you have bad credit, they guarantee financing on that new unit. For those of you with great credit, 0% down or zero down, no 0% interest. They've got a lot of great deals. And again, they guarantee financing. And the absolute best part, 15-year parts and labor warranty comes with that package. So not only does AAA Heating and Air get you take care of, they don't run off. They make sure they stick with you and that heating and air unit continues to work properly. 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. That's how you can reach AAA Heating and Air. Call them today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Morning.
Morning. You got a new camper.
You've never seen this cat before?
Over there?
No.
We're trying to figure out what it's clearly looking for something. I guess.
I think it's over the cafeteria.
It's been meowing at
See
the
them.
building.
Oh, does it?
Seen another one over the cafeteria.
Well, I wondered if it wandered in.
It has to.
It's definitely straight.
I don't know if it's,
It doesn't have a
collar.
I mean, it can't.
It'll be a,
It's getting close, but it won't hit.
yeah, I don't know if somebody's been feeding it over there and it's
Probably going to scratch. We had a disaster last night. So I called so the exact same thing.
Well, what I'll just have to do is,
Tell them.
All right. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Okay. Tell me if you can hear that. Give me. Let's see here. If I. There you go. No, I mean, that's fine. Just something I want to get past that a little bit. Have it in the back.
He told me. You said it was something. You said it. That's your phone? Used to be 17.
I can remember the last time I saw one of those boys a long time ago, but regardless, what a beautiful blocking up front. But what he did is that's where you have the great players back there. Instinctively, Todd, once he broke the initial coverage line, he broke it to the left side, and then he just outran the guy.
When they travel to like
Gamecocks 35. That's our Old Timey Clip of the Day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market with 3 locations: Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irma.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary of the SEC, it's 1075 The Game's 30 for 30.
All right, I got the
30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 28, defensive back, J.C. Horn.
Third and 11, Knicks in trouble. Escapes. Down the twirls into traffic and intercepted.
This is your first game. What?
Coming out of high school in Georgia, J.C. Horn was a top 200 recruit. He originally committed to Tennessee, but flipped to South Carolina. Horn started 10 games as a freshman and ended up on the SEC All-Freshman team.
What about? He was better. Yeah, he was real tired one day. But then he went home and jumped in the lake. But yesterday, he's getting confident. So I guess when they scrimmage, whoever he was scrimmaging had a see a really good player who's going. He said he was like, yeah, he had a bunch of moves in Boston. He's figured out how to play defense. Like he takes pride in playing defense. That's kind of become his thing. He's like, all right, I'm going to play defense. So he, yesterday's playing that kid, playing that boy, and the boy got upset with him. He's like, bro, you grabbed the arm. And Austin was like, I'm playing defense. You got to be able to score. And the kid got mad at him and was like, you ain't scored all game. Austin said, my team's up 8-0. The key is to win. And Austin said, boy, since you ain't scored, Austin said, we're winning 8-0. Austin said, I walked away from the grab. That's the thing. because there wasn't much else. What ends up being the legacy for him as he leaves? Because South Carolina has Sheldon Brown was really good in 2000, and I don't know if Sheldon Brown's going to be on this list. I have no clue because they've stopped telling me now ahead of time. Andre Goodman was a very solid corner who went on to a pretty decent NFL career. Obviously, we know about Stephon Gilmore. You mentioned Rashad Fenton. I know I'm leaving guys out. There's been a ton. Jonathan Joseph has gone on to a very, very long NFL career. So South Carolina's had other, and I'm sure somebody was screaming at the radio, reminding me of other defensive backs that I'm the Captain Munro. You get the point. I can sit here and do this little game for the all hour and a half we have remaining, but there's a long list of defensive backs. J.C. Horn's college career is not going to match up to those. He's the number 8 pick in the NFL draft. He got injured this year. That was unfortunate. But he may end up being up there with Stephon Gilmore as far as all-time great corners out of South Carolina with NFL careers.
I guess that we're far enough removed and people are happy with Beamer and people were ready for Muschamp to go anyway. But I'm surprised that the fan base even forgave him because there was a lot of animosity when Horn was the first one to say, I'm opting out for the rest of the year, right?
He or Israel Mukuamu, but Mukuamu was hurt. If you remember, Mukuamu had and so it's got Mukuamu basically was and Mukuamu made sense. Like I didn't really blame him because he was hurt. But yeah, it was J.C. Horn who I think was at the top of that decision in terms of opting out. And I think a lot of people at least understood. And plus the season had gone downhill. And also, if you go back, I think he did it after the Mississippi game in which South Carolina got absolutely torched. And he was part of that big play that where Lane Kiffin was throwing up his hands and
trying to run the receiver for Ole Miss that day.
He was very good. That
one for the Jets.
There you go. You're our NFL guy, so we'll have to hold you accountable for that. But it's interesting to see where people will put J.C. Horn in the long. Plus, I really think, and this is another part about some guys, and again, I don't know the rest of our list. I really think, Patrick, there's going to be a lot of guys that were good football players. DJ Wanham is an example of that. He's having a pretty good career with the Vikings. Keyshawn Nixon is going on to have a decent. That during the Will Muschamp era, people are just going to want to block out. They're going to want to block. I mean, Jake Bentley's always going to be a polarizing figure because statistically he was pretty good, but he could never seem to win the big game. And then you got the North Carolina game, which I don't put on. He did miss some big throws to Shi Smith down the stretch, but it's very interesting to look back at his time and really the whole Will Muschamp era because there's going to be a lot of people who I think just block out players from that era and just pretend like they weren't ever a part of the program.
And it's harder for defensive players too. I mean, it's just hard to be noticed. Like Debo was always going to get the credit because he's just making big time plays, kick returns, plays where it's just individually he's incredible. That the 200 yards against Clemson, like memorable things. And you really look back and JC had basically one memorable game, and it was through no fault of his own. It was just didn't get targeted. That's just what he did. He just shut people down, and that's the way it was. But I actually do think the memory of J.C. Horn as he has I think he's going to have a great NFL career. I mean, he was good before he got hurt, so I think he's going to have a strong year this year, and he'll be known as one of the better corners in the NFL. And South Carolina fans will look back more fondly, maybe than they thought at the time.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. If you want to weigh in, Craig says Bill just told us Wanham and Fenton aren't on those. I don't know. They stopped giving me the list after the first day, so I really have zero clue what's happening there. But we will continue on. We'll get you some J.C. Horn audio as well. Coming up next, though, Coach Tony Annan has arrived, and we've discussed the cat and a few other things. We will catch up with him here. We are live from Stone Stadium. It is the Tony Annan first ever Little Gamecocks soccer camp. Patrick and I have got the soccer ball out now, and we're going to show Coach our moves and see if we qualify for any walk-on spots. I believe you still have some. What was that laugh for, Jen? Yeah, it turns out it was. Yeah, it must have been something funny in the studio and not what I said. I like Coach Annan because every time I talk to him, he says size doesn't matter. And that lets me know right there because I can guarantee you Frank Martin and Lamont Paris would not tell me that. Yeah. And Shane Beamer would definitely never tell me that size doesn't matter in their sports. Coach Annan said even Lionel Messi is 5'5", and I think I've got him by about an inch or two. Makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, he's been perfectly good. So we'll talk about that with Coach Annan. Get an update on his team. He is pretty excited. He was telling me about a couple of his newcomers yesterday. So we'll talk about those guys and more. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. That's still hanging out.
Getting ready to go take the field here at Stone Stadium. Probably going to pull a muscle. I don't know what's going to happen, but if that is the case, I know who to call. That is Prisma Health Orthopedics. They are the official team physicians for the South Carolina Gamecocks, as well as the Clemson Tigers. So they will get you and your family the same care provided to the top athletes in the state. They're also the most comprehensive orthopedic group in the region. They've got 65 specialists across 6 locations, so they can help you wherever you might be. If hip and knee pain is making your daily life difficult, you need to seek the best care. Find out if joint pain is affecting your quality of life by getting out there, taking a free health assessment. Don't let that hip or knee pain hold you back. Prisma is the region's most trusted orthopedic practice with a deep-rooted history spanning nearly a century, and they're leaders in innovative procedures and teaching the next generation of orthopedic physicians. They offer a full-service walk-in orthopedic urgent care clinic for all sports injuries, strains, sprains, fractures, as well as chronic joint pain. They know how joint pain can make your daily life difficult, and they want to help you by offering that free health assessment. They've built a foundation for patient-centered care and innovation that results in the best possible services for their patients. So get out there, take that free health assessment, and if you want to learn more, check them out on the web at prismahealth.org/orthopedics.
Good job. Yeah, Austin yesterday. He was
Patrick Perrette, and now Coach Tony Annan joining us as we are out here at Stone Stadium, the first ever Tony Annan Gamecock, Little Gamecock camp taking place this week. And well, number one, let's just ask you how it's gone so far this week, because you told me when you and I were talking on Monday, you said I hadn't done a little kids camp in 20 years. Like, it's been a little bit different.
It's been good. It's been great. It's been hot. Today is obviously a little cooler today. It looks like it's been nice, but yeah, it's been great. The kids have been amazing. Not moaned and not cried and not, very few little complaints. So we're keeping them busy, but it's gone really well, really well.
One thing that we were talking about is growing this sport, and you get 150 kids out here. The turnout, like for what you've seen, you come from Atlanta, bigger town, bigger city, but are you pleased with what you've seen from the turnout? 150 kids. I don't know if that's for a camp. I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. I think any turnout would have been great. I wasn't really aware of obviously the interest in the camps before, what they've been like, but to get 150 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds who are loving it and running around and having a great time is only good for the sport for us to get them interested.
What did Patrick and I don't know if you were listening on the way in, and we were kind of discussing the growing of soccer in this country, and you and I have talked about it. And with your background, you understand, I think, some of the fear of soccer. And I've said for people who are 45 and older in this country, a lot of people probably gravitate toward baseball, whereas I think now there's 45, 40 and younger are moving more towards soccer because of what it is. For this sport to grow, is it something the MLS has to do? Is it younger kids like this getting into the sport and sticking with it? What do you think grows this sport in this country?
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I mean, obviously, this generation of parents who played soccer, who had it now, like the 20s and 30s, who actually played in college, played in leagues, who still play, they're getting their kids into it, which is great. It's one of the biggest youth sports in America now, as far as numbers goes. But obviously, as it goes up the chain, you've got college soccer, but also the pro league. I think the MLS has a job to do as far as the product they put on the pitch to entertain people. I think that's the biggest slight on soccer sometimes. Like a 1-1 draw is pretty boring. Why are we watching that? So I think the MLS's product is getting better and better, but also the money in the game to encourage players to sign professional contracts, and it attracts better players, which obviously attracts the crowds. David Beckham did huge things for the MLS when he came here. He pushed the league so far forward just with his status. Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, they've all been in and around it, and Robbie Keane and Ibrahimovic came over for 1 year and set the league on fire, then left. Wasn't too complimentary about it, but is the dream. As the league goes, keep kids interested in the game can only grow, because like we talked about, you don't have to be 6'4", 250. You don't have to be, amazingly athletic sometimes to play. So there's a lot of variation in who can play and who can be successful. So
as far as like the national team too, you see different coaches come in and try and run the team a different way. Focus on European players coming from Europe, and I guess getting guys to. But ultimately, for that to grow, America's system with football is very clear. You go to high school, then you go to college, then you go to the NFL. Basketball, kind of the same thing. Soccer is different because some of those players are going to the NBA. But do you think that's like the way to grow American soccer, getting kids to Europe? And then I feel like it has to grow through the college system, because that's just what's ingrained in American sports culture.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the college system's always been there, and still this is how it is, and everyone goes for education. But there are a lot of players going to Europe. There are a lot of players signing from high school to MLS clubs. But your Pulisic's of the world, who are putting the Weston McKinneys, who went early and have been so successful. I think those guys can actually be the role models of young American soccer players, and there's nothing wrong with the aspirations of wanting to go to Europe and play in Europe. I mean, I think there's still great players coming out of the college system. The late maturing players that come out of there that make it in the league. Julian Gressels, for one. I mean, he was a German player who came to the US and then played his 4 years in college. He got drafted, and he's one of the best players in the league for a while. So the college system is still a pathway for sure.
Is it becoming more like more of a common or more popular thing for players to go through the college system, or is it?
No, I mean there is a trend now of going towards signing a pro contract at 18. If they get a 5-year deal worth $350,000, they sometimes say, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go back to college later, but it just means they can't play. But there is a bit of a trend, a little bit of a trend. The best players are signing pro contracts out of high school rather than going through the college system. So
You got a great home schedule. You and Shelly Smith, obviously, this year, the women's head coach, and we want to talk about that with you. There's also a great ticket deal, and I want to get into a little bit September 2nd. Now, you got the 2 exhibition games, Duke and Gardner-Webb, the 13th and the 20th of August. But September 2nd, the defending national champions roll in, and it'll be your season home opening, true season home opener. We want to catch up with you on that in the next segment because I know you and I talked about it yesterday. You want this place to be packed out, and season tickets are a great deal right now. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Head coach Tony Annan of Gamecock Soccer joining us this morning. We're out here at his first ever, and he's still making it. It's Wednesday morning. I don't know who. I was worried who might be more tired this morning, you or the campers. But so far, you look good. We'll catch up with you more here in just a second. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. They put us on those clocks. I used to do all kinds of wild stuff with clocks. Coach Jen and Patrick have had situations with at the end of the hour stuff. So
Yeah. It was bad when we were having like 8-minute breaks though, and people were driving their whole way to work and not here.
But we'll do that. What y'all got to do to get ready? Anything this morning? Y'all pretty much.
they're down the field right now, setting up. We are checking. You see 8:30, but everyone rocks up at 8 o'clock so they can drop the kid off for half an hour extra.
That's a long day for the kids.
What time is that?
Starts at 9. We kick, try and kick off at 9. By the time we get down there, it's around 150 kids.
How late does it go?
Till 3.
Till 3. 3 hours. Was it 3-hour session? Lunch break? 3 hours.
Pretty much, yeah. We break it up into 2. Got some water slides coming on Thursday, Friday.
Like that.
I meant to ask you. Yeah, you told me something about that. And then I was reading one of these. Yep.
But if they're just in the area outside,
You're going to say what?
Huh?
You're asking what?
About the water, because tomorrow I got to remember to send Austin the bathing suit and the towel. Like you said, yeah, it's been warm, and
They can go in that soccer game.
He at 11 o'clock when I left at 11 yesterday, he was walking around. Man, he was drenched. I mean, we were talking. He's gonna do this camp, and then this will probably be the only camp I have him do this summer. What I'll probably do.
He opened his below-deck porthole and shined his lantern out onto the billowing waves. His little light was the only light from the ship pointed in the right direction. It showed the location of the drowning man, who was then rescued.
We start the private conversations and then we stop them.
Well, I started talking about Austin, and I don't necessarily want Austin going out over some of the things I'm saying about him. But yes, surf, and he was familiar. It said he liked meeting him, and I was trying to tell him, I was like, that's part of going to camp is you meet people from other places, and you get to know them. You did make it. What's going on? Doing all right? Yeah. Got your shirt on today. He's ready.
How we doing?
We're up and at 'em. Our kitty cat somewhere over there.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Patrick. You never met Michael.
Mike Wilkins.
He works for Jeff Coach.
Okay.
The Jeff Coach.
I think I've had Brian on the show a few times.
Yeah, like used to have him all the time.
Yeah.
Usually during baseball season, I think.
Yeah, he used to bring us breakfast.
We do. Patrick misses the breakfast.
You should have said something. I could have brought us some breakfast.
I think it was also his get out of the house time because he would bring us breakfast and then just hang out.
7:48 on a Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, and joined by head Gamecock soccer coach Tony Annan. We're out here at the Little Gamecocks soccer camp taking place. Started on Monday. Today is obviously Wednesday, and you've got 2 more days after day. Three full days still to go as players starting to arrive out here and get registered for the morning. But you've got some new players, not just young kids, but you've got some new recruits on campus, new players. We talked about it, 17 new guys. And I know you and I, the conversations we've had this week, you're excited. You're excited to get them on the pitch. You're excited to take on Duke in the exhibition. You're excited to play Gardner-Webb in an exhibition, but you're really excited for September 2nd when Clemson rolls in and fans can take advantage. You want to pack it up. You told me yesterday, 4,800 in the stands behind us, about 1,200 standing room seats, 6,000, and fans can purchase season tickets, and it is the best deal in town.
Absolutely. I mean, there's 20 games between the women's program and the men's program. You get about 20 to 22 home games. It's $25. So, I mean, do the math. You don't get that kind of ticket anywhere anymore. So it's a great deal. And obviously, we're going to try and create the best atmosphere we can at both men's and the women's games. So 2 great programs. Hopefully, it'll be entertaining to come watch.
You were talking about your program and a lot of changes to it. You and I, it still blows me away the limited access you have to your players. You and I were talking about it yesterday, the limited access. So getting these guys in, them being able to do their own strength and conditioning, their own workouts, how quickly do you expect? What's the realistic expectation for this team gelling? When you get this many new, I hate to say it, a lot of people I think saw Frank Martin in the basketball program and go, okay, we've got half the season. But when you get this many new guys in, I know you're competitive. Okay. How quickly can you expect this team to gel?
Yeah, I have to temper my expectations too. I mean, it's 17 new guys. We've got 10 guys left from the last class who are really good guys and very good attitudes and good players. So, the hardest part's going to be making the team gel and find out which is the best combination of players and which system suits those players to be the most successful. So it's going to be a challenge, a good challenge. To the guys, it's champagne problems. When you've got that many good players coming in, it's really exciting. But yeah, I mean, look, we want to be competitive, we want to be entertaining, we want to have people have a good time watching us play. So this season, the goal is to be very competitive and obviously entertain our fans and have a good time. So hopefully, winning comes with that. But again, I've got to temper what I feel we can do to be realistic, and it's tough to put a brand new sort of squad together and come out the gate swinging. But you never know. It does happen. It has happened. So we're hopeful that we can do the job we can.
What is the timeline? You said limited time. What is the date where you have full
So they report on August 8th, and we start pre-season on August 9th, and we play Duke on the 13th. So
you're figuring it all out on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to obviously bed down tactics, bed down triggers of your press and triggers of your build to get people to move into the right places. But that's the challenge, that's been the biggest adjustment for me.
How on a week-to-week basis, how much are you adding into, I guess, like, what kind of tactics can you add mid-season once you're already fully underway? What kind of adjustment are you just adding set pieces, or this team does this, so we're going to try and attack them this way and just try and make it all click as you go? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm big on set pieces. I think set pieces can win you games, win you tight games against really good teams. So I'm big on set pieces. During the season, though, once you get into the run of games, it's every 4 days you're playing, which is insane, right? But that's the way college is, and we accept that. But it's basically recover, train, a small training session, usually tactical, and then prepare, and then play. So it's not a massive amount of big sessions and hard sessions because you're trying to keep the players fresh. So a lot of individual management of load. Guys who didn't play have to train a little harder than the guys who did, and there's a lot of sort of complicated process of who's training when and what time and how long and what load did they do.
What about film? Are you watching a lot of film as a team, or is it more just you after the game throwing on the film of the next one? Because we had our equipment sitting in the film, we were just watching that little film. It's nice film.
It's a great facility. I mean, it's a professional facility, hands down. But we do about 2 to 3 sessions of team video a week. We do a lot of this year. We'll do a lot of individual video because I think it really helps the visual. And then obviously before games, we'll do a scout report. We'll watch the other teams play and try and find their Achilles heel and attack that. But this season, it's going to be more about us and what we do and how we do it, more than what are the other teams doing. How do we combat that? There's always an element of that, but you've got to choose how much video you do of another team, how much credit do you give them before you go out and play and go to war against them. So I think it's going to be more about us, who we are and what we do, and attack it that way.
Got to give a little bit of credit this morning. You and I talked. Will Lukowski is who you had here to open the door for us at 5:45. This is the great part about being the head coach. But talk a little bit about your staff real quick. Give them some credit this morning, especially Will, who was here to let us in and then to deal with the cat.
He had to actually chase the cat out
yes,
of the building.
Yeah. Will deserves free lunch the rest of the week.
Will gets free lunch every day. Will's he's a great guy. He's actually our volunteer assistant, so he works with the local club. He does camps for us. But he works like a full-time guy, which is very, very hard to find. And he's a goalkeeper coach too, which is obviously a great fit for us. But top guy, unbelievable guy. I mean, he volunteered to come and open the doors for you. And
yeah.
I don't think he realised what time it was when he did volunteer, but he's always up for it. And then you've got Alec Purdy, who's the assistant coach. Alec was at Wofford. He came with me when I joined. And then, again, a player who went through the college system with Indiana and then signed with the Revolution out of school. So Alex, obviously a top guy as well. And then Tam McGowan, who was at College of Charleston, who's Glaswegian. He's actually in Scotland right now, missing this camp because his brother's getting married. So we let him go back to Scotland. But again, another great lad who's so into it, sees the game very well. So a great assistant. They're both, to be fair, the staff for me are so important to the whole process. And they're a lot of the guys who do the video and cut the video up and analyze the games, and they do a whole lot, and they work tirelessly. In recruitment this year, because we went after 17 new guys, they have been on the road, they've been everywhere, they've been all over the world. I mean, and never once complained about it. They love it. So they're into it as much as I am.
We'll certainly in the coming weeks talk more about those guys. But you have a special guest in from Liverpool this week that you were very excited to having to work with the kids there at the camp.
Yeah, I think it's important that you get good quality guys in to do the camp. It's not just let's just kick it around a bit. It's try and bring some really top class guys in. We've got a guy from John Robertson. He's from Liverpool. He was the 17s coach, and then he got moved to the first team with Jurgen Klopp. So you can imagine the experience he's had in the last year. Still a young guy, still only 30, but he started out as an analyst, but now he's got into coaching. He's basically one of Klopp's assistants, who's also his analyst. So he's very, very important to Liverpool. I've known him for years. He used to come out when I was in Atlanta, and he used to come out for a few weeks and used to pick his brain about Liverpool. And obviously we're battering him this week about what does he do, how does he do it, how is he? So
is he from Liverpool?
He's from Sheffield originally, but he's been in Liverpool a long time. And he's living he's in my house living with me, but his bag has not arrived yet. So he's wearing my clothes and he isn't built like me. So poor guy's been living off of one pair of underpants for the week. So.
Get him to a Walmart.
I know, yeah.
That's isn't that American tradition? If you come over, you got to take him to a Walmart. Just be like, hey, you see this? I assume there's none of those in England. I would assume there's no Walt. I would assume the Waltons haven't made their appearance.
They have Asda, which is a supermarket.
Okay.
That they took over. So Walmart is there.
All right. If you've got time, I want to keep you for one more segment. We've got a couple questions in from callers on the MLS and the NCAA, and certainly want to talk again about those tickets that people can purchase. So we've got all that. So if you've got time, keep you around. We are hanging out here. The Tony Ann first ever Little Gamecocks soccer camp taking place this morning, and good times out here. It's a lot going on. Kids are starting to arrive, and matter of fact, the first one here this morning is Jack. Jack's out here. He's already kicking it around. He's on the field. He's ready for another big day of soccer. So we've got plenty to get into. We'll get back into player number 28 in the South Carolina countdown to the top 30 players of all time. We'll keep Coach Ann and bug him for one more segment. couple questions. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Coach Tony Annan, and Jen Jensen's The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Yeah, let's do a promo. Let's do a promo, and I tell you what, I'm going to get Coach Annan to do me a favor too. I'm going to get him to do a promo for our show that Terry will love. So we're going to cut 2 promos. All right. Okay. So the first one is, I'm just going to get Coach Annan to cut it. If you'll just say you're listening to The Early Game. I already say this is Coach Tony Annan with men's soccer. You're listening to The Early Game, my favorite show on 107.5 The Game, or something like that. Be a little creative, but just something quick that we'll send to Terry and he can pop. So, Jen, you ready? You ready? All right. Ready? He should be good. I got him. All right. So that's all you got to just come up. So this is Coach Tony Annan. You're listening to The Early Game here on 107.5 The Game. Go Gamecocks or something like that. Ready? 3. My favorite show. Yeah, something like that. 3, 2, 1.
This is Tony Annan with USC Men's Soccer. You are listening to 107. Start again.
All right. Ready? Go.
This is Tony Annan with USC Men's Soccer. You're listening to The Early Game, my favorite radio show on 107.5 The Game. Go Cox.
We'll send that to Terry. All right. Now we'll do our own promo. This is just us ad-libbing. So, all right.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just gonna run this afternoon. So
There's no time limit or anything.
yeah, just we'll ad-lib for it. Yeah. All right. Ready? This is the promo for tomorrow. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Tomorrow morning on The Early Game, we're back in studio. We're not out at a soccer camp. Unfortunately, Coach Annan, I don't know what we're going to do without the soccer ball tomorrow morning.
You will be missed. We will miss your presence.
We're not leaving today until Bill learns how to do a rainbow.
Patrick's going to practice his rainbows. Jim's going to be the goalie, and I'm the water boy. All tomorrow morning on The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Excellent.
That was very difficult to do with
That was
show playing in the
extremely
background.
difficult to do with all that in the background. I'm trying to.
You need to plug that in.
Yeah. All right, let me reach for it. We're talking about here. Yeah, this is just my computer. That thing, I don't. You're good. The work, the probably work, but for some reason that the light lit up. But for some reason, I don't know if I left it outside. Let's see if I can run this. See what looks like your chair. Yeah, I got a guy called in with 2 questions and gave them to Jen. All right. What you think?
Huh?
Good so far?
Yeah. What we didn't talk about, you did mention the Walmart. The Walmart heir bought the Broncos yesterday.
Oh, shoot.
$4.6 billion.
Remind me of that when we get off the air, or get in the next segment. We'll do that. We'll do the JC Horn stuff and we'll be done.
Yeah.
What else?
It's gonna MLS. Why the MLS season is different than Premier League?
Or this season, like the scheduling.
And the other one was, does the NCAA continue?
Considering merging fall and spring seasons. That's something we should talk about.
Final hour of the Wednesday edition of The Early Game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, and head coach Tony Annan of Gamecock Men's Soccer for one more segment before he gets ready to deal with 150 Little Gamecocks, the first ever Tony Annan Little Gamecock soccer camp.
think I'd be able to say that by now. You actually do have other camps though this summer. If people, I think older
Yeah.
kids, if you wanted to sign up.
There's men's and women's camps. So
Okay.
the women's program have a big camp slate as well. We have not this week, but the week after, there's a camp of U11s through U14s. So it's we call that a junior Gamecocks. And then we have 2 residential camps in July, which are open to anybody over 13. So they're all pretty good numbers at the moment, so it'll be a really good time. The girls have got theirs, theirs are filling up pretty fast too, you know.
Now, when you say residential, is that like I know not far from where we're sitting down the road, Shane Beamer's doing kind of a prospect camp where high schoolers, is that what the residential camp is? If you're a prospect around the state or in the Midlands, you just want to kind of come and I don't want to say I don't.
It's basically that's what it is. It's not. You don't have to be a prospect. We do prospect ID camps. They're like 1-day camps, which are we've got one July 30th, we've got one August 7th that season starts. But that's when prospects kind of want to come and do that. So, but the residentials are for anybody who just wants to come sleep away and spend 2 nights with us 24/7. So,
you and I were talking about it yesterday. I don't know how many people have been down here lately. I haven't been to this side of campus and the growth of the University of South Carolina. And Patrick, you may know where it is. They're building these new dorms just to our left over. And you said they're going to be freshman housing.
Tearing down beds.
Tore it down. It's not. It's done being torn. It's
I
torn.
I literally.
Yeah, you
lived
can.
I lived at the end of the street here when I was in college.
Okay, but you were telling me. I mean, we were talking about it. What they've done down here with freshman dorms, the growth of this campus and the enrollment is absolutely phenomenal.
It is. It's great. I mean, we call these things dorms, but they're nicer than any apartment I ever lived in when I was a young guy. So.
You and I were talking about that. Your guys are also at 650 Lincoln Street, being athletes, whatever. The accommodations for your athletes. We always talk about facilities. We talk about football facilities. You just mentioned how great this facility is, and you're getting a new scoreboard. And you and I were talking yesterday. There's some upgrades that you want done in the near future. Are those on the books, or is that
23, 24? We've got stuff lined up to really upgrade the stadium and make it beautify the stadium a little bit with concourse and make it more fan friendly. So, myself and Shelley are both really involved in that and trying to make this place like a really fun place to come and a really nice place to come. So, the freshman dorms where our guys live, when we're recruiting, we take them in there and their jaws drop. There's a swimming pool, there's a sandwich window at the pool. I mean, it's above and beyond anything I've ever seen. So, yeah, it's the showers are 7 feet. They're not 6 foot. The beds are 7 feet.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so they've really made some nice accommodations for our players. And in recruitment, they can't believe it when they walk in there. So.
Is it for people that don't know that your facilities? I'm sure they can always be better, but how do they stack up with who? I mean, are they middle of the? You said you're working on things, and so to be clear, you're working and you're enhancing things. You did step into a situation that there was improvements that needed to happen. That's happened across the board. At any time a football coach comes in or a basketball coach, you want to put your fingerprints on it, make it your program. But how does it line up with who you recruit against?
I think obviously we're top. I think these facilities are top 10 in the country. I don't think we have a problem once we get people onto our field, our locker room, our lounge, our boot room. We've got our film room. This building is probably top 10 in the country, but easily. And obviously, when you create the atmosphere we're hoping to create here at Stone, we could push ourselves into the top 5. I think easily to really in recruitment, people want to play here. The pitch, playing surface, ground staff, got to give them a shout because they work tirelessly on this field, and it's probably one of the best surfaces in college soccer.
Well, they've got a unique ingredient. You got a little cat running around here. That apparently that's the
stray cat.
You were talking about the enhancements to the stadium, but again, this year you want to pack it out. Just got a text from Jason Gilliam, good friend of mine with Soda City and with Lexington Soccer Academy, and he says he'll be here for the Clemson game on September 2nd. I'm not going to finish the rest of his text message because he's a fan of that orange color team up there, but you're excited about that one. And again, to reiterate, the season ticket package, it's a combination thing.
Yeah.
You and the women's. It's not $25 for men's, $25 for women's. It's $25 and you get men's and women's season tickets.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible deal because you've got I know people are learning. You've got a heck of a home slate this year. And it starts with Clemson, who is the defending national champion, and a chance for you to make a statement, your club to make a statement right away.
Absolutely. The women's start with Florida State. You're national champions.
Okay.
So, the women's program's just as tough. The games are just as good as ours. And we've got a stack of games coming in that we've got a really competitive schedule that it'll be a really entertaining place to be, I think, hopefully. And if we can pack it out, it'll be even better. So.
Well, that rivalry game again, that'll be September 2nd. So Labor Day weekend, September 2nd, South Carolina and Clemson will be right here at Stone Stadium. $25 gets you season tickets. And again, as you mentioned, you want to make it a great environment. Yeah. You want to pack it in, and you get 17 newcomers, the chance to get them on the pitch and show them. Just real quickly, we talked about, I think it was Ben Alexander, the goalie. You've also got another young man that you're very excited about that we were talking about yesterday, who's got a unique background, and I forget his name, but we were talking about coming out of Haiti into Miami, and just a unique young man that you're just glad to have in the program.
Junior Saint-Just, he's a center back from Haiti.
All right, I barely pronounce Perret correctly, so I'm just going to.
I may have butchered his name as well, because I do that a lot as a coach. But yeah, Junior came from Haiti around about the time that they went through some obviously really difficult times in Miami. Then he ended up in Atlanta, so that's where I first seen him. And I've obviously kept in touch with him. He was trying to go professionally, and things weren't working out. He said, "Look, I'd love to come to school and try and give it a few years in school." And I said, "Great." So I'm excited about him. He's a leader. He's a tough guy. He's from meager means, so he's a hungry guy and he wants to be successful. So unbelievable character, really good character. So I'm excited about him too.
Well, one of the reasons I bring it, he's been out here with the campers this week, working with them. Is very energetic. His run around with them, and that's one of the things that makes it such a great camp, is that you get some of your players involved, and the kids remember that. The kids that get to come out here, they remember being with some of these players and seeing them, and when they come to games, they say, that guy coached me. That guy, they've all been fantastic. But you and I were talking about him yesterday, because I was watching him interact with some of the kids, and it was a lot of fun to see him really be a part of it. We got a couple questions that came in on the phone line from Shep, and let's get to a couple of these real quick for you and just get your answer. One of them is the NCAA considering merging fall and spring seasons, and is that something that you would like to see?
Yeah, the 21st century model is up for vote actually in a week or two. So what that means is, instead of having your 20-something games within 3.5 months, 4 months, it will then stretch over fall and spring, and the championships would be at a better time of year, which would be April, May time, and it will be more of an 8-month season where you could periodize your program, welfare of the player. The load is unbearable at times in the fall because it's such a sprint. The NCAA, with their new obviously transformation committee, are trying to figure out whether they want to do that. And it may end up altering college soccer in a big way, where it gets tiered, or maybe not every college wants to do that, but it's definitely up for vote. And honestly, my personal feeling is, for the welfare of the player and the less injuries, more study time, less cramming into 3 months, I think it's a better environment all round. But we'll see if it passes. There's a lot of opposition to it as well. So I'm hopeful that it'll pass in the next 2 weeks. I think it's up for vote. So probably won't come in until 24, maybe 23, but definitely 24 if it passes.
The other one, the MLS, is something we talked a little bit about this morning, and I do think the growth of the MLS is instrumental in the growth of soccer in America, and we cut up about it last time, about Lionel Messi potentially coming to enter Miami. I think you guys quickly shot that down on me, although I still think,
it's not that he won't end his career, but it was I think the rumor was next year.
Well,
not coming next year.
Well, I think was it 2023 or 2024? Because we said he was. I think he's 30, isn't he 34 now? And I said maybe 36 or whatever.
He just scored 5 goals 2 days ago.
For the national team.
For the national team, yeah. But the MLS, that does need to continue. You mentioned money's got to go into it. It's got to be growth. But Shep asked, the timing-wise, why is it not like the English Premier Leagues that run from August to May? Your opinion on that?
Actually, I don't know. To be honest, I think it's probably got something to do with other sports running at the same time. And the calendar is obviously to fit a 9-month, 10-month season in. The calendar's got to work for the league and everything else. I probably do know the answer at one point why it was done that, but it slips my mind right now why they do that. But I don't see that changing at all.
Was it? I feel like a long time ago I heard it was the option for some players to be able to maybe draw players
from the Premier League that could come over during the summer. You know,
there's always that where you can get them on loan, maybe, or put your players on loan in Europe. But I'm sure it had something to do with other sports, their seasons and sort of the window for. Because if you think about it, MLS is one of the only sports that goes through the summer.
Right.
So that may be it.
Back over in Europe, we have wrapped up the EPL, the Championship League. I was actually texting with somebody on Saturday morning and mentioning that kind of miss waking up and having coffee and why it had become a pretty instrumental part of my Saturday morning during last. But well, your expectations. By the way, I just want to say I'd shaved on Monday night, and I looked a little bit like Jurgen Klopp yesterday with the black hat, with the tight, with a lot of gray in the beard. I felt pretty good about myself. But your excitement for the upcoming season over there and kind of what you're expecting.
Yeah, obviously, I'm a Newcastle fan, which people keep telling me I shouldn't mention over and over, but they've got a lot of money now, so they're going to be buying players that have had a good season, ending season to the Premier League. So I'm excited to see what Newcastle do, but also Man City just signed one of the best strikers in the world and increased their squad immensely. Liverpool will be there. Man United are hoping to turn things around with a new manager and a whole new group of players. So it'll be exciting again. I mean, the Premier League, you just can't beat it. It's, even if you're not a soccer fan, I think you could get really into it.
It's been something I've gotten more into over the last couple months, and actually look forward to it this season. With that in the mornings, college football in the afternoons, certainly something. Coach, we appreciate you having us out here this morning. We appreciate Will for letting us in and dealing with us this morning. And you've got us a soccer ball too, and a few more children starting to arrive out here. It's the first annual Tony Annan little Gamecocks soccer camp going on, and I know you've had a blast this week being able to interact and kids that are just out here more for the passion of the game and just the love of it at that age.
Have your friend gotten any comments from kids about your accents?
Yeah,
it's probably
absolutely.
6 to 10. There's probably some hilarious comments.
I get about 4 or 5 a day from normal people
Yeah.
about my accent. So.
We appreciate you having us out here. We look forward to having you on again next week, and we'll recap this. A lot to get into. And Coach, thank you for being a part of this program.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back. We will talk about J.C. Horn, the number 28 player in the top 30 countdown of SEC players during the South Carolina football era. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Good.
Oh, after a long day of soccer camp, I got Alston coming in the house. He's got grass on his cleats. He's sweaty. He's rolling around on the carpet, and I have zero clue why. Probably because Coach Annan wore him out here at soccer camp. And, well, I tell you what, thank goodness for Zero Res. If it wasn't for Zero Res, I would have a dirty house. But with Zero Res, they are the MVP of the cleaning game. You can give them a phone call as well. Get them to your house. Use that patented ZR water technology that Zero Res uses to keep your house clean. 803-262-4020. That's how you get in touch with Zero Res today. No soap is what they use. No harsh chemicals lingering to attract dirt. Zero Res ZR Water's technology cleans your surfaces without the use of detergents or harsh chemicals, and that means your carpets will stay cleaner longer. So call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020, or you can easily schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com. Right now, 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, air ducts, all 15% off. Just use the promo code Summer Sale at ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, that is Summer Sale. 15% off all cleaning services right now with Zero Res. 803-262-4020 or book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. No, I know. I was just at that point I was saying Will, but I could see him. I couldn't tell if that was him or not. But
No, that's a different ball.
yeah.
Alright, so we're just drop them off. They'll run around the field. I gotta get them work.
Yeah. Well, they were all here.
What is this little area that we're on? Who watches the game?
Do what? What do you say?
This little area we're in.
I don't know. All right. I know, right?
Well, that's not good. Real high. Season ticket.
How good thing it was $20.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can give them the clothes, you can do all kinds of stuff. I mean, all over. How much seats now? So like 15. I want to get a club level. I'll pay. They don't have. You don't have to buy. They're all there. I would assume the red ones with the orange are like that jersey. I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
People stand. What's the stand?
I said that yesterday. That so like obviously you can see here's the out of bounds line. You can see it seems like standing rooms behind the goal. And I was like, it's dangerous.
Yeah, but also kind of cool for that should be the student section. That's what the I know that soccer's really big at Maryland. Maryland student section is directly behind the away goalkeeper.
Really?
And they just have
Where were you saying the standing room section is? Behind that goal. Is it behind that one?
Yeah, it wraps around.
Right.
It comes down the side. You can get like 2 or 3 people.
I'll tell Patrick. I talked to Darren yesterday. He's gonna buy some season tickets. I'll just tell him I'll turn into a seat snob. I need to get some club seats in here, right?
Well, that was one of my things when we were talking with Matt about it. I was like, can we get like big money doing us? Right. You want to sit and watch the holes up there.
Right. Just put easy boxes to sit.
I want to do it here. This is equipped for a rooftop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's an elevator shaft in here. So when they built it, the idea was to have a rooftop.
Yeah, you don't need. I don't think you need like multi boxes. I don't think you need one big.
The roof's equipped to hold people like an event space, but they never finished it. I don't know, budget. It'd be great to have that for like donors and people who want to say, "Oh, I pay $100 a ticket instead of $20."
I guarantee we buy 4
So
club tickets.
another project for me. Another project for me.
Yeah, I'll work on that. $8:22 on a Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette. Big thank you to Coach Tony Ann, and not just for hosting us out here today, but for joining us for a couple segments there to talk about his camp. And we were just talking. Look, I think under Mark Burson, the program really grew. Patrick, you can see the sign kind of back down here to my right. Both Shelley Smith and Mark Burson have done some really great things here for South Carolina soccer. But Tony Annan has stepped into a situation that things have gotten a little stale, and he's had to try and rebuild it and rebuild the fan base a little bit and getting out and doing some of these things. It'll be interesting to see them. And again, season tickets, $25 gets you season tickets for both men's and women's soccer this coming season. And the women's team have got a great schedule lined up as well. If you were just listening, Tony mentioned that the women's team will be hosting Florida State, who also is the defending national champion. The women's team, of course, has been very dominant in the SEC as well. But the women's team will have Florida State on August 18th. That's a Thursday night here at Stone Stadium. And the women will also host Clemson on September 1st, a Thursday night. So you'll get the Clemson series, Patrick, for the men's and the women's soccer team Thursday and Friday night, September 1st, 2nd. So if you want to make a big Gamecock weekend out of it all, you'll have the women's soccer on September 1st, Thursday night against Clemson, men's soccer Friday night against Clemson, and then obviously on Saturday, South Carolina and Georgia State in football just down the road at Williams-Brice Stadium. And 803.
I'm sure they'll work a 5K into that.
Yeah, it's not
They'll
enough.
find a way.
Not enough. Just throw a 5K into the morning.
They always do.
Patrick, the big fan of the 5K. So we have talked some college football this morning. In just a few minutes, you'll get to hear again the number 28 player on our list of top 30 players for South Carolina during the SEC era. And number 30 on that list was Stephen Garcia. We talked about him on Monday. Number 29 was Mike Davis. Number 28 is today's guy is J.C. Horn, Patrick. And a couple people weighing in this morning. And I don't think anybody's criticizing J.C. Horn. It's not what they're doing. But it is surprising to me that he's ahead of like a Mike Davis or even a Stephen Garcia, who was an absolute fan favorite. We talked about Stephen Garcia's stats, but J.C. Horn is a guy who's ahead of Stephen Garcia at 28.
I mean, there is I really don't disagree with it because there is a very strong case to be made that sure not as memorable, but more like as skilled as any defensive back. I mean, you talk about Gilmore, and then there's no one that you say is definitively he was better than J.C. Horn. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about DJ Swearinger earlier in the show, but I mean, where was DJ Swearinger drafted? I can't remember. It wasn't the first round. It was a mid-round pick. So J.C. Horn, not just a first-round pick, the first defensive player drafted in his class. Like we're talking about an incredibly skilled player, played on not very good teams, didn't have too many memorable moments because he didn't get thrown at very often, but just such a good football player.
DJ was drafted in the second round of the 2013 NFL draft. I think, some of this is always, again, revisionist history, and J.C. Horn I don't know what I'm using. For South Carolina, he was for South Carolina. He is a current Carolina Panther, and hopefully he'll bounce back this year and have a huge season. But Patrick, I mean, again, his career, J.C. Horn's career is going to be better professionally than A.J. Lawson. But A.J. Lawson is a very underappreciated basketball player for South Carolina because there wasn't like great moments on the basketball court. J.C. Horn has a great moment in the Auburn game, but his career as a whole doesn't have that great team moment. He comes in, he's a freshman. South Carolina loses the Belk Bowl, and it's awful. His sophomore season, they go 4-8, and that's really bad. And then obviously the COVID season is 2-10. It's all 2-8. It's all SEC games, and he opts out halfway through. There's just not going to be that recollection of him as being a great player on a pretty good team. It's going to be, oh yeah, he played for us during a pretty bad era of South Carolina football.
Yeah, and that's when you're not a very good team, and it's not like the secondary was bad outside of him, but there was no need to test him for so many players because his half of the field would just be locked down, and because they weren't winning, it wasn't super high profile. But I mean, look back at like Darrell Revis's best seasons; he wasn't racking up interceptions. He simply was not being thrown at him. So we're not even going to bother attacking him. And I think J.C. Horn, I can go back and look at his numbers. I'm sure he had plenty of fast breakups, and just for whatever reason, it was that nagging thing that he just could not get interceptions for a while. And then, lo and behold, his first game in the Auburn game against Tulane. But just super skilled, talented football player that probably isn't going to be remembered as he should because he just wasn't on great teams.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on J.C. Horn. He is our number 28 player in the countdown of the top 30 players for South Carolina in the SEC era. We'll continue talking about him. We'll let you listen to a little bit of audio from J.C. Horn just a few years ago and what he had to say on certain situations. And we'll get into a few other things as well. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perrett. We are out here at Stone Stadium where the kids are starting to take the field. They are starting to arrive here. It is the Tony Ann and Little Gamecocks summer camp taking place this week here, Monday through Friday. And again, I want to remind you, if you want to purchase tickets to South Carolina Soccer this year, men's and women's, it's an incredible deal. $25 for one ticket, season ticket. Patrick, how much did it cost you to go to Top Gun?
Yeah, it was like $21 for IMAX ticket.
So That's one movie. You can get a ticket to season ticket.
Not that I don't suggest you go buy an IMAX ticket to Power because it's incredible, but I think you should also just get season tickets.
A lot of things to see. $25 for one season ticket. That includes both the men's and the women's. So you get a lot of great soccer this season. We look forward to following Tony Annan and this soccer team, as well as Shelly Smith and the women's team. We'll come back, though. We'll talk more J.C. Horn, a couple things from the NFL yesterday, and we still need to get into that Phil Mickelson picture that popped up on the internet. Oh, boy, Phil Mickelson. Been a good couple months for him, hasn't it? You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Be smart enough to turn us around here. Where's it going?
So the little kids will listen to the radio.
They'll grow up knowing that we were. Hey, look, this kind of stuff sticks with you. They'll be like, oh, I remember when 107.5 The Game was there. We should listen. Tony was like, yeah, I did a radio whatever with Jay Phillips one time. I was like, I totally forgot about you guys. He's like, no, I listen every morning. I guess I'm learning more about Gamecocks sports to you guys. I'm pretty sure that's not good. But out here at Tony Annan's little Gamecock soccer camp, this morning. And after we get done here doing the show, Patrick and I will hit out on the pitch for a wee little kickabout, as he said, and look forward to doing that. But the key to doing some soccer and getting out there is being in good health. You don't need joint pain. And if you've had problems with your knees, with your ankles, with your back, with your hips, it's going to be hard to get out there and play a little soccer or baseball or jump in the lake or do whatever fun activities you want to do in the best season of the year when you can get outside and be active. So it's time to call QC Kinetics today. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. You need to stop putting it off and call QC Kinetics now to learn more about their regenerative medicine. You can get a totally free in-office consultation. Again, that phone number is 803-281-6860. You can get real, lasting relief from the pain. And you can do it all with no surgery, no drugs, and most importantly, no downtime. You'll be out there and right back ready to play a little soccer. Maybe get out on the baseball diamond. Maybe just jump in the lake without pain. So don't wait any longer. Call QC Kinetics today. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today for that free consultation.
Easy.
Yeah, well, they got all the. Are you good on battery life? How's how good is this? Oh, well, we only got 20 minutes left, but let me plug that back in real quick. Just to make sure we aren't doing the show, and all of a sudden, like, my computer will hold out for 20 minutes. It's definitely a golf ball, isn't it? I think it is. It ain't a golf ball. I thought it was going to be a golf ball, but it looks like it's a golf ball. I got a feeling if that clunks somebody in the head, it's going to hurt.
I think so. I would definitely. And they're a little bit early. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing? You good?
Doing good. Pretty good, John.
Oh, really?
You look pretty funny too, right? You look young.
Huh?
You look young.
Well, the guy is young. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely him. Because now that I think about it, because
It's not a lacrosse ball.
what's that?
That kid just got drilled in the chest and didn't.
Okay. Oh, good. Rick, that's good. Yeah. I'm definitely getting more into it.
This is what I knew we were going to get. Rusty's text. JC Horn quit Logan Jr., a total meat player.
I can live with that. I was hoping it wasn't good. Way too much soccer. I'm living with that. That's, I mean, look.
But you did quit.
And I'll bring that up right now. It's, $8:37 on a lovely Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and the soccer kitty is still wandering around here. Patrick, it has not been scared off by the kids. It's still hanging around with us. The kitty was out here when we arrived first thing this morning, and it is still around here. So that's interesting news as well. Kids are starting to arrive. We are out here at Tony Annan's Little Gamecocks soccer camp, the first one ever, Coach Annan having, and he was kind enough to invite us out. He's been over with us a little bit this morning. Appreciate him. Again, a reminder, season tickets can be had. $25 get you season tickets for both the men's and the women's games this coming season. The kids getting fired up behind us.
It's just funny that we're here getting ready for soccer camp and they're all just playing 500 with a rubber ball.
They're having a good time out there, getting loosened up, getting warmed up. It'll be another warm one out here today. The player number 29 in our 28. I'm sorry, 29 was Mike Davis yesterday, and I'm about to read something on that. But 28 is J.C. Horn, and a couple of you went in, and I do think some of this is fair. And Patrick, I was slightly surprised when I learned that J.C. Horn was 28. I don't know what the rest of the list looks like.
But a couple of you, let's get a couple of these text messages in. Anonymous Texter says Horn was at best. He would have a great moment, but he also let somebody go right past him because he was trying to be overeager. I completely agree. There's no reason he should be above someone like Mike Davis, who is absolutely going to be the most underrated player. Another texter weighing in this morning says, I was absolutely shocked when he was the first cornerback off the board in the NFL draft. But Patrick, you know this, the NFL draft sometimes is about measurables. And J.C. Horn, A, has the pedigree, father an NFL player. B, he's has size, 6'1", 180 pounds. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He did have some film, as the previous texter just said, where he had some great moments. That was one that maybe you were a little surprised. I'm trying to think, who were the other corners?
Pedigree, someone quarterback, and played at the SEC. But that's what he was a prototypical corner of special days. Long, athletic, and was really skilled and technically sound. Like that's when guys come from NFL houses, they're probably going to be pretty advanced in their technique, and he certainly was when shows Patrick Surtain. But either one of those guys, it was a toss-up. It was the best. But again, the top two defensive players taken in that draft. Jason was the number one defensive player taken in that draft. That doesn't happen for no reason. So whether he had the memorable moments or people were upset how his time ended at South Carolina, I mean, he's still really just good football player. He's going to be good in the NFL for a long time. I agree. If you say he'll probably be a better pro than he was college player, that could totally be the case.
Yeah, and again, I think some of it is how we will remember J.C. Horn. And Texter weighs in and says, Horn quit his junior year, a total me player, indicative of the Muschamp era. I'll never forget the ball Sam Howell sailed right through his hands on what should have been an NIT. You know, there's going to be those, and that's why, INT. Thank you. But there's going to be those people with that take. And, you know, whether you think it's fair or not, there is that stigma of Horn opted out. And there was that interception or the missed interception against North Carolina, which looks like a computer glitch or how he missed that ball. I don't think we'll ever understand. But the reason
that's why I played corner, not
very true, very true. And I read that text, not to knock on J.C. Horn, but that is a side of his career and why he may go on to be this great NFL player. He may go outside of South Carolina fans. A lot of people are going to go, who do you play for? Oh, he's from South Carolina? Really?
It was an ugly time to end the season with J.C. Horn and then Javon Kinlaw was making some comments and get booed in the stadium. But J.C. Horn was the first one to say, I'm done. And it did start a really ugly end of the season. But as an actual football player, I mean, he's as skilled as any defensive back that's done since Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, you got to, I mean, what he turns out to be in the NFL, again, and he should be back and healthy and a starter for the Panthers this year. He may have another rough year. It may be 3 consecutive full seasons played for J.C. Horn of very rough years, going 4-8, 2-8. He was out last year, and it may be another losing season for him. Oh, well, it'll be another losing season. It may be. I was going to say it might be another double-digit losing season for him. But I guess the point when we talk about him is that there was a lot of potential there. But as that texter pointed out, there are going to be people who read this and go, I don't see it at 28 or 28. I don't see him being on the list at all. He is a good player. I think he makes it. I'm not supposed to read any more of the list, so I'm not going to do it. But he makes the list because of, I think, being a new player and being the number 8 player in the draft. As my son Austin has finally arrived out here at soccer camp, ready to go this morning. Yeah, there's a radio show up there. I didn't know the 2 guys were up there. And a cat. There's a cat. 803-404-6100. We will come back and wrap up the episode of the early game. Jen holding it down in studio and keeping us on track. Patrick and I warming up the crowd here at the Tony Annan Little Gamecocks soccer camp. We're at Stone Stadium out here. And I tell you, it is, Patrick, a nice little facility, but there's certainly things they can do to really enhance this and make it a big home field advantage for Coach Annan and Coach Smith as well. We'll continue talking about that, and we'll wrap up the program. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
You guys want water?
Yeah, I'll drink one in a second. I'll go get myself home. Appreciate it.
The Kit Kat.
Austin said he was not impressed with your promo. He noticed you messed up the first time.
You never say bollocks. It's one of them you put out for later.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. We probably need
You can't say bollocks.
Yeah, we feel it. But the more we got to remember to bring it ready. They got one shot. Bring it back.
Oh, that just spoils the surprise.
All right, okay, don't tell anybody else. Sorry, that's kind of what I do. I go around spoiling surprises now. Well, hey, he better remember in the morning. I got to figure out. I don't know. I'll get somebody to bring me. Get somebody to track me down and bring me.
What's up, dude? You all right? Ready to go?
We'll know in about 2 hours if he's ready to go.
How's the show?
It's going. It's going. One more segment. Is it cold? It rained in Lexington.
Thunderstorms.
Is it?
Sky thunderstorms. We've got the indoor. You guys are going to play here tomorrow. Stay on.
We were kicking around earlier. Huh?
No, I played soccer.
I was trying to teach your dad how to do a rainbow. I was trying to teach your dad how to do a rainbow. You can't do that.
Is that your blood pressure? Awesome.
Is that Junior?
Huh?
Junior?
Junior?
That's the player's name.
Was that his name? Whatever he said. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Final segment of the program this morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Brett. We've had a blast. We've been out here at Tony Annan's Little Gamecocks soccer camp and breaking it down. Tony Annan joining us this morning, and a lot of fun talking with him about a lot of different things. And again, the growth of soccer, Patrick, is something that we'll promote it on this program as we do. We like hanging out with Coach Annan. We'll talk some other sports throughout the summer. He's a fan of sports. He's a fan of your Washington football team.
Right. Well, he was a fan of John.
He was a fan of John Reagan. So it was all in all very fun. Joining us now for a few minutes is my son Austin, who has been out here the first 2 days. How for people wonder how is it going so far? You think how is the camp going for you?
Gets you a little tired, but after a while,
Yeah, you've been an all-day camper, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. What's been your favorite part of the camp with Coach Hannon so far? Of course, not the drills, the scrimmages. How have you?
I mean, I like doing the moves.
You like doing the moves? You got a few more days left. What are we working on here for the next few days? Well, what have you got to improve upon? Now, which one is what first touch? First touch. Yep, your coaches at Lexington would be very pleased with that. What's the which coach have you been working with? Who are
Which coach? Coach John and Coach Alec.
Now, Coach John is from
He
Liverpool.
talks weird, right?
From Liverpool, right? Have you learned anything from? What have you learned from Coach John?
Coach John.
When you've understood him.
He just keeps talking about the Beatles and Steven Gerrard. He doesn't want to coach. He just wants to talk about the Beatles.
He's bringing Liverpool culture over.
Well, one thing that I want from him is that, I mean, we don't learn from them. We learn from all mistakes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about a few other things with you and Mr. Patrick here for a second. Tonight, Game 3, Austin and Patrick, Game 3 of the NBA Finals, the Celtics and the Warriors. Did we make predictions earlier? Did you go Celtics?
I did, yes.
You on Celtics? Who are you going with tonight? You're going with the Warriors. What have you thought? What have you thought about the first two games so far?
First game was just they outplayed us. Second game we played well. So overall, we've played well.
Austin is 10, and just for clarity's sake, your favorite team is. So all of a sudden, the Warriors he's part of the we
No,
team
I'm
there.
just saying, like, team going for something.
So you're saying the Warriors. So you're taking the Warriors tonight? You and I have talked about it. The matchup and Patrick again. Steph Curry has had 29 and 28 in the two games. He's been good. Klay Thompson's the guy tonight, I think, that you look at that on the road has got to be on fire and making shots.
Klay for the Warriors, and then there's just all these. You never know who the secondary scorer for the Celtics is going to need to be because Jaylen Brown will get you at least 17 to 20, most likely. He's kind of gives you his. I feel like his range is not that big. He's not going to go off for 40, and he's probably not going to be held for 10 or less. He'll give you somewhere in that range, but Derek White is such a difference maker when he just snaps off like that because the Warriors aren't going to guard him, and Al Horford is instrumental.
Bigger tonight. Derek White or Al Horford?
Al Horford. I mean, he's instrumental in keeping the ball moving, keeping that offense in flow, and also defensively, he's huge. And I feel like he's really important for that team because they're led by youth. But I feel like it just from watching the way they interact, he's the leader of that team. Will he have another game like that? I mean, he's gonna need to, and because that's the guy that has to go off for them. Because the Warriors just don't cover it. They double up on Tatum. They give help every time he drives, and somebody else is gonna have to knock down shots in the game too. That just did not happen.
Yeah, Al Horford, I think a guy that you keep a close eye on tonight. Horford, obviously his first NBA Finals appearance, first for Derek White as well, but Al Horford first Finals appearance. And what he was able to do in Game 1, Austin, with 26 points, with 6 of 8 from three-point range. That's a guy that can spread the floor. And when you spread the floor like that, you open the driving lanes for Derek White, for Marcus Smart to get in the lane, and also, more importantly, for Jason Tatum. And that's a guy that you've watched very closely, and you like how he's played so far.
Yeah. The matchup is a big part of it. Who do they have on there?
They got Wiggins. Wiggins on Tatum.
Wiggins has to play well on defense. Not like he hasn't, as we saw in
Game 1.
Game 1.
But Tatum was 4 of 17 in Game 1 and was not good. And that was the crazy thing is that Austin wins with a bad performance, but that's where you got Horford stepping up.
Tatum's stats have been so weird because he was not very good, but Boston wins in Game 1, or at least not good scoring. Really good scoring in Game 2, but had the worst plus minus of his entire career. Not just in the playoffs, the worst plus minus of his career, -46. I don't really get it. I don't get it.
He's big. You also watch for Jaylen Brown tonight. Jaylen Brown's got to make some big plays. You're going Celtics. Patrick's going Celtics. Austin's going Warriors.
I go Celtics tonight. I think the Celtics
I think
at
they'll go
home.
1-1 in Boston.
Yeah, I think the Celtics back home tonight. Celtics defense can be really good. Klay Thompson and Al Horford. Keep an eye on those two tonight. We've talked a lot about the top 30. Well, we talked a lot of soccer this morning, and we've talked certainly as well about our countdown, the top 30 players this year. And Austin, this is a guy you knew or you watched, J.C. Horn at 28. What for you? What do you remember about J.C. Horn at South Carolina?
J.C. Horn was a very physical defensive back. He loved to be all over the field. I mean, he could take on anybody. Now that didn't really have a basic game, but he wasn't scared of taking on anyone.
Talk about talking trash. J.C. Horn would jaw.
He would.
He would. He was a trash talker.
He would. He added a lot of. Well, that kind of Joe Horn was a Joe Horn known for. Also, I don't know if you know this. Joe Horn scoring a touchdown in New Orleans and pulling a cell phone out of his sock or something.
No, it was out of he hid a cell phone in the goalpost and scored a touchdown, pulled up the goalpost, and took the cell phone fall.
How do you think it would go if someone hid a cell phone by the goal here at soccer? When they scored a soccer goal, they ran over. Actually, a little surprised we haven't seen that. The knee slides. Coach Ann instead here just turned around and looks at me. But yeah, I mean that is if you've got a guy who scores a goal, you run over. A yellow card. It does seem that seems like it would be due for a yellow card. But J.C. Horn, number 28 on our list of top 30 Gamecocks in the SEC era. Certainly, we'll continue that countdown. You hear a lot about him today as we go through the rest of the shows, and obviously we'll get into number 27 tomorrow. We'll be back in the studio. So, Austin, you've got a big day of camp in front of you. What's the biggest goal today that you try and accomplish? Score a goal. That's a good goal to have. There you go. Good goal to have. Thank you for stopping by.
1% better every day.
1%. As your father, let's make it 3%. Let's go 3%. 3% better. You hear Jen? Not usually. Austin says he was watching our live stream. He heard Coach Annan mess up a promo as well. So see, people make mistakes. So appreciate Coach Annan for letting us out here this morning. Patrick, it's been a good time. It's time to get out there with all the kids and kick it around on the pitch.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's do it. Let's get out there. We're gonna have a good time. Thank you to Coach Annan. Thank you. That's what you gotta throw your weight around. Yeah, don't be afraid of those yellow and red cards. That's right. Early shower is perfectly okay. Jen, we appreciate you handling everything back in studio while we played with a cat out here and watched soccer. We will be back in studio tomorrow morning. Thank you to Coach Tony Annan and all the little soccer campers out here. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Thank you. All right. You feel okay?
Yeah, get stretched out. All right.
Jen, you feeling okay?
Live streamers. Say goodbye to the live stream.
Check the live stream later. We might hop on and post something.